This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, September 4th. Please stand for our invocation, led by Dr. Raul Richardson, Power of Faith Ministries, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Peace and blessings to everyone in attendance. I thank you for the opportunity to come before you once again to bring the invocation as we pray for our leadership, our city, and all the fine constituents therein. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. And we pray right now, Father God, as we're assembled here in this great auditorium, that your will be done, that love will be made manifest in the discussions and decisions to be brought forth through our city leadership. And now, right now, Father God, as inclement weather approaches us through the Gulf, we pray that that caring would be made manifest in the lives of every single human being on the Gulf Coast, that peace would be still, that calm would rule, and should there anything occur that needs our immediate attention, that we receive every member of our community with love, peace, and understanding, and a diligence to meet them where their needs are. Bless this assembly, Father God, and bless the deliberations of the City Council and the Mayor and all of the workers that represent the fine city of Mobile, Alabama. Amen.
Roll call. Vice President Manzi.
Here.
Councilmember Richardson.
Here.
Councilmember Small.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Rich.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Statement of rules.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. It's good to see each and every one of you. Welcome to our City Council meeting, and it's inspiring to see such a large crowd, even in inclement weather. We pray that God's blessings will be upon this entire Gulf Coast. The rules of the council are quite simple. We ask first that you turn off or silence all of your electronic devices. If you're desiring to address the council, you must sign in, indicating the resolution, ordinance, appeal, a public hearing, agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, we ask that each speaker clearly state his or her name and address. Any person desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk's office no later than 2 p.m. on the Thursday prior to the council meeting you'd like to speak. We ask that the subject you speak on be City of Mobile business, and any person who hadn't given that proper notice to the clerk's office won't be allowed to address the council. We allow each speaker 5 minutes. A bell will sound to indicating the end of 4 minutes. You'll have 1 minute to begin your summarization, and the second bell indicates that your time has expired. We ask when you address the council that there be no personal address to any individual council member. We ask that all of your commentary be directed to me, the chair, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, we ask that there be no undue applause and or public outcry during the course of this meeting. Those are our rules, and again, thank you for your interest in your municipal government. Madam City Clerk.
Approval of minutes of August the 28th.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes approved.
Communications from the mayor.
Good morning. It's good to see everybody here this morning,
Good morning.
especially with the tropical storm bearing down on us. I think that's probably the foremost thing in most people's mind. We've sent out several communications this morning, but just in case you didn't hear it, we are saying that with the exception of all essential public safety and public works city employees will be dismissed at 11 o'clock today. Mr. President, does that mean that City Council is going to get up and bolt at 11?
I don't know.
Okay.
We're here for the long haul.
Maybe not. Maybe not. We'll make it through this meeting. But unless otherwise noticed, for those that do leave at 11 o'clock, we're asking that you return back to work as a at your normal, regularly scheduled work time tomorrow. Based on the information that we have, we're thinking and hoping that there'll be minimum impact on the city of Mobile other than a lot of rainfall. Just a couple of points. All our recycling, both recycling centers will be closed at 11 a.m. Wave Transit will suspend service at 2 p.m. and they will resume service as soon as the weather conditions permit. Also, while the garbage and trash routes are currently scheduled to run as normal, citizens should keep their garbage carts secured for regular Wednesday pickup. So, assuming that you can get your cans out tomorrow morning, we would encourage you to do so, assuming we have not had significant damage to the city, because we will be picking up garbage tomorrow morning. But given the potential impact of what could happen, we encourage everyone to stay tuned to the National Weather Service for updates and make sure that you and your family are taking all the necessary precautions to remain safe. So thank you very much for being here.
Adoption of the agenda.
Madam City Clerk?
Yes.
We have a presentation by Councilwoman Rich.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. There's a great group of individuals and collective groups, parents that are present. And if they'll come down, and Deborah Tillman, who I work with to coordinate this. What about our superheroes?
Spider-Man, Batman,
The superheroes need to come
Superman.
on.
All right.
Anybody else who wants to join us,
I
please.
hope they can stop the storm.
This is a very special proclamation. And I know that we are keeping our eye on a storm that is physical in nature, weather-related, but there's a storm that takes people by surprise. And right now we're concentrating on childhood cancer awareness. But I'd like to ask my colleague Gina Gregory to come down and help read this proclamation. We have, like I said, there's different groups here, and I'll ask Deborah at some point to introduce people. And if anyone has a word to say, please feel free. This is your opportunity. And Gina, if you'll get started. Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you. It is my pleasure to be a part of this proclamation today. Thank you so much for coming. We've already had an opportunity to take a picture, some of us did, with all of the superheroes. And I'm sure my colleagues who missed the picture would like to get involved in all of the superheroes because,
100%.
you know, we try to be superheroes to some degree ourselves in our districts and citywide.
That's right.
So, with that in mind. Whereas September has been designated as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month to provide education and awareness to this issue and to highlight the need for more funding and research. And whereas statistics show that every 2 minutes worldwide, a child is diagnosed with cancer, 1 in every 285 children in the United States has cancer. More children are lost to cancer in the United States than any other disease. And less than 4% of the National Cancer Institute research budget is allocated to curing childhood cancer. And
whereas resources in Mobile to help children with cancer include treatment at USA Children's and Women's Hospital. The Mobile Police Department SWAT team conducts Operation Superhero yearly by rappelling down the side of the hospital dressed in superhero costumes, hence they are with us today, during the bell ringing ceremony to signify each child completing their treatment. Camp Rappahoe provides year-round fun for kids with cancer, including a week-long summer camp, and Joy of Life sponsors a yearly Mardi Gras ball to support childhood cancer research. And whereas Childhood Cancer Awareness Month is being recognized by Mobile's RSA Battle House Tower, which is Alabama's largest or tallest building, on Wednesday night, September 19th. And I hope that a lot of press will focus on that aspect, because the iconic tower will go gold and will be on top of the building, and it will recognize the need for awareness with childhood cancer. Now, therefore, I, Bess Rich, and Councilwoman Gina Gregory, and members of the entire City Council, along with our mayor and members, do hereby proclaim September 2018 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Please don't forget it, and wear gold or a ribbon all month long and tell everybody what it is you know about those statistics and how they need to change. And Deborah, if you'll come forward and introduce some of the groups, I'm going to let you hand these out later. And if you need more for any of your groups, do not hesitate to ask. They will be made available.
First of all, thank you, Councilwoman Rich and Councilwoman Gregory, Mr. Mayor, fellow members of the council, for having this proclamation and allowing us to be here today. We have a lot of outstanding people that are here today that work with folks and children and families that are affected by childhood cancer. And we also have some actual children who have been affected by childhood cancer. And I'd like to start by introducing them first and foremost. We have Emma Ray Perkins, which is here with us. We have Caitlin Tillman that is here with us. And Noah Jackson, which is also here with us. We are thrilled to have them here today, and we also have a very special family that's here with us, Jay and Brooke Nicholas, who are the parents, and we have the grandparents of Aubrey Nicholas, who fought a brave and courageous battle with childhood cancer, and they are right here. We also have several groups that are represented from Camp Rappahoe. We have Melissa McNichol, which is the Executive Director of Camp Rappahoe. If you've never been to their turkey trot race on Thanksgiving morning, it's an excellent event. I encourage all of you to sign up for that. A lot of fun and a great way to start Thanksgiving morning. We also have from the Joy of Life group, Ashley Long, who is here with us. And they have an outstanding Mardi Gras ball every year. We encourage you to attend that. They do a lot of things on the Gulf Coast for children and families that have childhood cancer. We also have the University of South Alabama, lots of personnel that are here from the University of South Alabama. We have the director, Scotty Roberson, who is here, and then several staff members. If you all would raise your hands. Nurses, all of those folks that are here, thank you all for being here. Dr. Enron's up there at the top. Thank you for what you do. And we also have obviously the superheroes, which they're our heroes every day for what they do for the city of Mobile. But especially today, we thank them, and we thank them for being here. And they will be at the bell ringing event that is on September the 19th at the University of South Alabama, which that event signifies the end of treatment for children that have cancer. And so that's a big deal. And on that night, the RSA Tower will go gold. We're not going to stop with just one night with the RSA Tower. We're going to keep on trying to get some more nights with that. But anyway, we really appreciate you all being here, and everybody who's here for this proclamation, if you would just stand, because we have other parents and loved ones and grandparents that are here. So thank you very much for all that you do. I know it's a busy morning. I know there's a lot going on. We'll never let a hurricane stop us from childhood cancer awareness. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank all of you, and God bless you. All right. Celia, I can't understand. Madam City Clerk.
David Clark.
Good morning, Mr. Vice President, City Council. Great to be here, and thank you for allowing us to be here today. David Clark with Visit Mobile. We support the tourism for Mobile, and I have Patty Kiefer coming up, our wonderful Director of Leisure Sales and Events. She's going to give you a couple handouts, and also Amy Angermeyer, our Vice President of Convention Sales, is behind me, and Jay Gareway. They do a great job in supporting the tourism. We appreciate everything. A lot of great things going on for the City of Mobile, State of Tourism. One little quick handout that you have shows that last year, fiscal year 17, visitors increased 180,000. Visitor spend increased 86 million year over year at almost $1.2 billion. And our city lodging tax increased about 16% to about another $1.3 million. So, you know, our lodging partners are having a lot of success too, and it's thanks to all of our stakeholders, leadership, and you to continue to up our game in tourism. Current state this year, you know, we presented a business plan to you a few months ago, and trying to be actionable with that, results oriented. The City of Mobile will realize a record convention room night year, 100,000 future definites booked for future years in this year. That is the best ever by 30%. I'm really proud of our team. We had one really big win with a group with four years, Lavinia Tolbert's group. I'm really proud of her. You know, when you look at the other things that are the projection of conventions, we're up 10% in leads year over year. That's also good news. There's bad news, or tentative productions down about 10% as we cross over into the new year. The good news with that is that we've moved budget neutral around to hire another sales, corporate, and association manager to help ramp up against that, and some of the other sales processes that we have should ramp that up, and we probably think that in 6 months from now we'll be over and crossing over into a much better situation. So we have no concerns that we'll continue to put more room nights ever from the convention standpoint. But you know, we just don't support conventions and meetings here. A big part of our job is for the leisure part of this, and bringing those two boxes together, you'll see that it's the way to get us from 3.4 million visitors to the 6 million visitors that we need to make it work economically and for the sustainability of the city. So we've been working on and leading some collaboration with Visit Mobile on a couple things. I'm going to bring them back up here in a second, but I want to talk to you about Carnival Fantasy because our marketing team, our leisure team do a lot to support the marketing and the Facebook cruising page. They're working with Judy Rowe and their marketing department. A very neat thing that just came live 2 weeks ago was the digital marketing campaign, working closely with Carnival Cruise Line and their marketing team, and they actually put Mobile's landing page on Carnival's page worldwide. So that's given us some really cool visibility, and our goal always there is to keep increasing the yield of the ship to make us more successful. You know, we realize 190,000 passengers coming off and on that ship every year. So we've got to keep upping our game there. Another really big component to the leisure, we think, in Mobile. Besides all of our wonderful attractions and the stakeholders offers, that Cooper Riverside Park, we think there's an iconic opportunity here, authentic thing, to really bring our riverfront to life as a front porch of leisure to Mobile. If you look at our cities throughout America, if you look at the cities that are really successful with tourism, the Savannah, Georgias, the San Franciscos, the New Orleans, the Charlestons, they use their river as a front porch to celebrate sustainability and tourism for their citizens and their visitors. We have been working with our civic engagement department. What we think are some pretty cool things to maybe bring 500,000 visitors just in that one area alone. If you look at your little fun graphic there, you see a little food and beverage footprint below Gulf Quest that could come to life. Maybe we expand Gulf Quest's food and beverage offering and expand it more toward the pad down below into the river. Think some tables and chairs along the river, think more activity, think more food and beverage, think music, arts, culture, retail. Who knows? Maybe there's an idea being tossed around as a container bar, or container vendor opportunities with container. We started a lot of the containerized shipping, the McLean family from Mobile. I think we ship about 300,000 to 400,000 containers a year out of our great port. We have a container section in Gulf Quest, celebrate that. So that's sort of an iconic idea, authentic to our area, that we continue to explore and work on to activate that area to, who knows, maybe every weekend and eventually every day, our residents and our visitors can enjoy a tremendous opportunity there. A really proud thing that I think for the city of Mobile, starting October 13, we have a boat dock down there for ecotourism, for commercial opportunity, for our residents and for our visitors to enjoy ecotourism from downtown Mobile. Think an hour harbor tour, you have a graphic there. I think Delta tours, Wild Native will start there in mid-October. So what a great leisure opportunity for our citizens and our visitors. The TID, the Tourism Improvement District, it continues to move on. Next year is a quadrennium year for a legislative session, and starting in March, we'll get in front of the legislative session to box up the language for the city to collect that, and we'll repetition to our stakeholders probably in April and get that live. And this is coming together in a perfect storm, because once that is approved by our stakeholders, we'll be able to market on an annualized basis another $1 million a year for the visibility of Mobile, for drive time in and out of market campaigns. So there are a lot of great things going on. We appreciate your leadership and what everyone's doing for us and with us for the city of Mobile, and we think we're going to continue to up our game because of all those things. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Any questions of Mr. Clark?
Well, Mr. Vice President, if I could just...
Mr. Daves?
I would just like to commend Mr. Clark and his team for the job they're doing. It's all about heads and beds, and when I see this kind of increase in lodging tax revenue, it doesn't just happen. It happens because there's a dedicated team making it happen, and I commend all of y'all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes, sir. I would like to join Councilman Daves in thanking you for doing you and your team for doing an outstanding job. And I also would like to thank you for what you all have done in the past in helping us make the moon pie drop successful. And I want you to know that the time is near for us to start the campaign again, to try and get a minimum about 70,000 people on the street on New Year's Eve night. And we will not be able to do that without your help. And we want you to turn the heat up to make this a great night, not only for visitors, but for all of the citizens in our area.
You bet. Thank you for the iconic idea, Councilman. Thank you.
All right.
Again,
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you so much, Mr. Clark.
Mr. Vice President,
Mr. Mayor?
I'd like to just reiterate one of the comments that he made. For the citizens that have not seen it, there actually is a new floating dock out by the statue of D'Iberville, and I hope it's still there tomorrow. We'll get the first test tonight, obviously, but that is the dock from which Wild Native will do the excursions up into the Delta. And so if you're in the proximity of Cripple Riverside Park, I would suggest that you walk by and have a look. We will have a ribbon cutting open in that dock probably sometime within the next 2 or 3 weeks. And that will be the beginning of what we hope of creating a situation whereby we are having events and creating that activity that's going to be so important to the growth of the usage of the waterfront. So we're real excited that it's installed and almost ready to be used.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madam City Clerk.
Adoption of the agenda.
So move.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals, we have requests for waiver of noise ordinance on October 5th and 6th on LaSure Drive, September 7th at Lions Park, and September the 8th on Government Boulevard.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to receive public input on the proposed 2018-2019 budget for the City of Mobile. Joan Inge.
And just let me remind everyone, we ask that you clearly state your name and your address, and you'll have 5 minutes. Bell will ring at 4, letting you know that you have 1 minute to summarize. Glad to have you, Ms. Inge.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor, wake up. City Council members, staff, and audience. My name is Joan Inge. I reside at 728 Boaz Avenue, Whistler, better known as Mobile, 36612. I'm here today to represent the VIA Center. I didn't dress up because I want you to see my back, which is the VIA Center. For all of you who don't know what the VIA Center is, let me walk you through it. It's located at 1717 Dauphin Street. There are people waiting in front of this building at 6:30 in the morning to get their day started. I know because I'm one of them. As you walk in, you get a warm feeling when you go into our VIA Center. Someone is always there to say hello, how you doing, come on in, and that's rain or shine. We're there every single day. I love the VIA Center. I go 4 days a week. As old as I am, I should be home resting, but I don't want to do that. And that's what all our 1,200 members want. We want to be healthy, we want to be active. And this is what we do at VIA. Let me walk you through it. When you walk in, to your left, you'll see a huge room with at least 25 people in there really working out by dedicated instructors. On the other side, you'll see a bunch of men and women in there pumping iron on the treadmill. This is like 7 o'clock in the morning. You go down the hall, follow me now, you go down the hall to your right, you'll pass a small office, not that small, of Barbara Estes. On her door, she says, this is my own little world. I know it and they know me. You go around the corner to your left, you'll see the billiard center. There's a bunch of men there playing pool and laughing and having fun. And I think the only station they can get on that big, huge TV is the Cowboy station. So I just call them the Cowboys. You pass there and you get to the AARP office, which is located right in our VIA Center. At the AARP office, we offer safe driving classes every month. We do free taxes during the free tax season. Further down the hall, you'll pass Sherry's office. She's our bookkeeper. She's always in there crunching the numbers. Across from her, you will meet our awesome CEO, Deanna Murphy. She's little, but she's tough. She's spry. She's smiling, and most of all, she is fair to everybody. When you tell her door is open, she means it. You can go in there anytime and talk to her about anything. She's always fair, and that's what we love about her. Further down the hall, you have Grandfriends. This is the only senior center in the city that offers this program. This is a program where the relatives bring their elderly that can't stay home alone, but they're not ready for a nursing home or anything like that. They are brought to the senior service center and kept all day long. They're not sitting around watching TV. They're playing games, and they have a dedicated staff back there. If they can't be brought to the center, we have a bus with 2 competent drivers that will pick them up as early as 7 o'clock in the morning and get them back home by 5 or whatever time they have to go back. This enables these parents to go to work. Otherwise, they'd have to stay home with their parents. Now, how many working people your ages can stay home with your parents? Quit your jobs. Not possible for a lot of people. And this is a very good program, and they're there all day. We also offer crafts, artwork, really good artists there. There's a library with over 100 books in there, any kind, from soup to nuts. They have it's true, someone will be playing cards in one section. We have all kind of dances you can think of offered at the center, and we do them, and we enjoy them. All of this keeps us fit. That's what the program is about, health and fitness and enrichment. We're enriched because we meet so many new people every day. They come in and everybody welcomes them. We enjoy the classes. The classes are 1 hour each time, but we do everything in there. You do Tai Chi. This is every hour, up until 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
I got it. If I must say, we have one huge fundraiser called
I'm so sorry.
Okay, thank you for listening.
We want to hear everything else you have to say, but that is your time.
I said thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
True Nicholson, and following True Nicholson is Jim Spangler.
My name is True Nicholson. I live at 2252 Ashland Place Avenue, 36607. And I want to speak on behalf of Ms. Inge, although she's a hard act to follow. I will point out the one thing she neglected to say is 6 days a week, our gym at VIA is full of pickleball players. Anywhere from 12 up to 25, 30 people now show up 6 days a week to play pickleball at VIA. That's not why I'm here, though. First, I want to thank you all for the hard work that you have done to put together the budget for the City of Mobile. I've read the whole thing. I've attempted to understand it, and I respect the work you've put into it. I've also read the assessment of the city's facilities. I've been to a lot of the parks, recreation centers. I live in Midtown Mobile. I understand the flooding. I understand the potholes. I understand the bad sidewalks, and I understand the crime. So I understand the problems and how tight money is and all the different people needing and seeking your funding. My reason for being here is to ask you not to cut the funding to VIA. And for that matter, the other performance contracts that deal with the health and welfare of the citizens of Mobile. Rethink the blanket 10% cut and the people that you have actually given increases to. Unlike the Connie Hudd Center and most of the community and recreation centers, VIA is open from 7 in the morning to 7 at night on weekdays, and they're now open on Saturday mornings from 8 to noon. Times when people who work can still come and use the facility. Recreation and health don't just happen from 8 to 5 during the week. Although VIA's main focus is seniors, it welcomes people of all ages. You can be a member if you're over 21. They have welcomed a youth pickleball program. We have players now ranging in age from 11 to 85.
VIA provides many services for our senior population, from the many exercise classes to the fitness room and the adult daycare program. Seniors from all backgrounds and all parts of the city come to play cards, work puzzles, play pickleball, get out of the house, and socialize. All of these things make for healthier and happier citizens of Mobile. Please reconsider cutting our funding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Williams?
I just want to make a comment. Some in the audience may believe that the council has done some work on this. Maybe a couple of council members individually have looked at the budget as you have, but we have not done any work on this budget. This budget is entirely the product of the administration at this point. So all the cuts that have been made are cuts that the administration thought were necessary. What is happening now in the beginning of this is that the council will determine whether or not we agree with the administration on this budget. So any comments of why things were done, you'll have to ask the administration. And things that you would like to see happen in the future then can be addressed to us. Just kind of get it all clear so everyone understands. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Madam City Clerk?
Jim Spangler, and following Jim Spangler is Deanna Murphy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
I'm Jim Spangler, 1351 Dolphin Street, right here in Mobile. I am VIA. I'm a retired civil engineer. I am a volunteer at VIA. I'm also the director of physical fitness program. I'm the de facto facilities engineer. Should have never told him I was an engineer. I also basically help VIA do whatever it takes. I am there every morning from 8:30 to 11:30, 5 days a week. When you become a senior, all of you, I would love to see you at VIA. Come up there when you no longer sit in that chair or no longer have a job and you're looking at the rocking chair. Come to VIA. We're there. I will say hello, good morning to you. I'll give you a smile. We have one of the finest physical fitness rooms available. It is by my design for seniors. It's not Planet Fitness. It's not Pro Health, where you go like that. It's nice and slow and quiet for you. Come to see us. We're there 5 days a week and Saturday mornings. If you get a chance, come up to VIA. Take an hour one morning. Come to VIA. Walk in the door and say, I want to see Jim. You will. I will take you on a tour of VIA that you normally will not see or get. I will explain things that you normally don't see or get. An example is we have a water fountain that has gone defunct. It's going to cost about $700 to replace. VIA doesn't have it, but we have somebody that is stepping up to the plate. It's going to take care of that. Our fitness room needed a new machine that was senior comfortable. We went out, raised $1,980. Somebody gave us $950 for the $2,850 to buy that machine. I said, that machine will be on the floor by my birthday, August the 1st, the Friday before it was there. And everybody's used it because it's one of the machines that is used in the cardiac bounce back programs at the hospitals. We have 2 of them. If you ever have to go through bounce back, when you're finished your bounce back program, you can come to VIA and continue the program because we have all the equipment that they have. I have designed it that way. When you're bored, come up to VIA. We will have something for you, I guarantee. Anytime. that we need something. We have very little money. Fluorescent light bulbs. For some odd reason, a box will show up of fluorescent light bulbs. And you know who has to put them in, obviously. Never should have told him I was an engineer. Some plumbing needs to be done. I'm also responsible for making sure that that our kitchen facilities are fully functional. We needed a steamer fixed and put in use for our kitchen. We didn't have the money, but for some odd reason, it all showed up. We got it fixed. But once again, I say to you, when you become a senior, come see us. But before then, come up one morning, walk through the door, ask for Jim, and I'll show you what you don't normally see, and I'm not going to tell you what everybody else is telling you about VIA. You'll see it firsthand. Thank you very much. I am Jim. I am VIA. Thank you.
All right.
Deanna Murphy, and following Deanna Murphy is Celia Bear.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Deanna Murphy. I live at 11522 Braga Drive, Daphne. I am the Executive Director of VIA. As you can see, we have fabulous members here representing us. I'm going to cut my speech just a little bit short because I think we've told you who we are. We're a health center. We're a fitness center. We're a recreation center. We're an enrichment center. But we also are a community service center. Our Community Needs Division provides support services to low-income families who are in need of our food pantry, our adult daycare program, our information referral program, our neighbor-to-neighbor program. We offer discounted and free memberships based on income levels. Through one of our grants, we've been able to provide free memberships to our local veterans over the past 3 years. Our rental program provides a reasonably priced venue for weddings, church functions, jazz concerts, graduations, business meetings, educational seminars, and other social events. Just who are our members and who do we serve? We currently serve over 1,200 members and over 49,000 seniors and community users each year. Our members are made up of 55% women, 45% men. 85% of our members are over the age of 50. 52% of our members are Caucasian, while 48% are African American. 10% are veterans. 13% of our membership fees are paid out of pocket by the member, only 13%. 75% of our membership fees are paid by the member's insurance company. 12% of our members do not have to pay a membership fee at all because of our financial scholarships and our veteran scholarships. We also serve all 7 city council districts with our member representation. As they mentioned earlier, we are now open on Saturdays from 8 to noon to meet community needs. We're about to kick off our VA pipeline program. That will be an adult daycare program that will be open to our local veterans at no cost to them. We have several capital needs. It's never ending, as I'm sure you are aware. Our outside parking lots do not work properly and have become a major safety issue for our seniors when they leave our building at 7:30 at night. The lighting is very poor and we need to get those replaced. We have leakage for our, the various areas of our roof. We have roof repairs and replacements that need to take place. I think Jim mentioned some of our plumbing issues that we have going on right now, our water fountains. We also have some drainage issues and some toilet repairs that need to be taken place. We also need some upgrading for our Veterans Daycare program that's about to kick off. We need to issue and implement some new doors tables and chairs that are suited for the handicapped. And the list goes on and on when it comes to those type of improvements. But VIA, we want to say to you, we are very pleased to be partnered with the City of Mobile in serving the needs of our members and our community. As always, the board, the staff, and members of VIA are very appreciative and thankful for your kind and generous support that you have always given us. We now ask the City Council to please amend the proposed budget and to restore VIA back to level funding of $160,000. Thank you for your consideration in this matter. It is greatly appreciated and most definitely needed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Celia Bear. Following Celia Bear is Diane Martin.
Good morning, Council. Mayor Stimson. I'm Celia Bear. I reside at 265 Lavert Street, 36607 in Councilman Richardson District. Gina Finnegan is with me, and she's got some material for the council and a copy for the mayor as well. Sitting here this morning, I was kind of struck by how I'm CEO of the Mobile Symphony, and I was struck by we had a group of cancer children that have had childhood cancer. Well, one of the things we do, we've performed at the Children's and Women's Hospital. We've done a free, all these are free performances at the Mitchell Cancer Center. So we interact with that group of people. In March of next year, thanks to the excellent work of David Clark's group, Visit Mobile, they bring in a group of people who come to the city, see what we have to offer. The American Society of Choral Directors will be in Mobile. Because of the quality of your orchestra, they chose Mobile. There'll be a performance. They'll be here on March 11 and 12 of 2019. The VIA Center. I know for a fact we have a lot of people who go to the VIA Center who take advantage of our very inexpensive $15 tickets to come to performances, and I know it's an important part of their lives. So I'm struck by the three people who've spoken before us. We interact with them. So we do aim to collaborate with other organizations in the city and across the city and even across the bay to Baldwin County occasionally. I'd like to point out that we do have almost a $2 million budget this year. In 06-07, we got from the City of Mobile for the Mobile Symphony and the Mobile Symphony Youth Orchestra $62,000, and we paid to the singer, which we're their primary tenant, their anchor tenant, $46,062. And a little bit of lodging tax. Along about 2009 and 10, our support from the city dropped to $56,570. The total we paid to the singer was $78,674 and lodging tax of $3,080. Then in 2012-13, it dropped to $50,913. We paid to the singer $77,536. That's in a lot of that info is in your handout. I'm going to also send you each an email. Lodging tax of $5,143. Then in 14-15, it dropped to $19,600. We paid to the singer $80,618. Lodging tax $6,115. Then it went up to 20 and 15-16. We paid to the singer $85,547. Lodging tax $46,65. And it has remained at 20 until this year when it dropped to 2. The year that it dropped to $19,600, we eliminated our Young People's Concerts, which is the program where we bus school children in, perform for them. It's an opportunity for them to see an orchestra and see instruments that otherwise they would never hear. This past year, courtesy of an NEA grant, support from Councilman Daves, and a trust in town, we were able to do a small orchestra performance and put that back into the budget. It's been eliminated again for next year because the NEA grant, we won't be eligible again for 3 years for that particular program. I'd like to point out that we also, of course, have major impact in downtown. Concert weekend, 2,500 to 3,000 people eat, park, dine, spend money on this side of the bay if they're coming from across the bay. We like to do our part to make Baldwin County come over and spend their money here. We have an extensive education program. This $2,000, which sounds like it's not a big cut, will take something out of education. I don't yet know what, but something out of education will be removed. Then I've already mentioned the Sanger, I've mentioned our hotel, I've mentioned how much we would like to interact with Visit Mobile, what they do for us, and what we do in the community. So I'm hoping maybe you consider bumping us back to the 20 and maybe bumping us a little beyond that, because I think we bring a lot to the table when you look at our education programs and what we do for all ages in the city. The American Choral Directors Association will bring 2,000 attendees, and the reason they're coming here is the quality of the orchestra. They're not going somewhere where the orchestra is not good, and it's excellent here. I appreciate your past support and the support that we have always enjoyed, and I see a lot of you at our concerts, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Diane Martin, and following Diane Martin is Mae Smith.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to the mayor, the council, staff members, and all present. I am Diane Sermon Martin. I live at 262 Levert Street in Mr. Richardson's district. And I'm speaking as the president of Keep Mobile Beautiful. And I'm not here to ask you for money, although we would take it. I want to thank the City Council and the Mayor for this opportunity to address you on a couple of issues. The Keep Mobile Beautiful Incorporated Board of Directors respectfully request that you remove the Keep Mobile Beautiful name from the line item in the 2019 city budget under litter and recycling. Since our removal from the city budget 2 years ago, we continue to operate as a volunteer, nonprofit affiliate of Keep America Beautiful. We are currently funding replacement trees in downtown, and we're working on green recycling with the Mobile Urban Growers, among other projects. I wrote this all out so I wouldn't veer off to tell you all the great things that we've got planned. So, back to my reading. As a nonprofit, we rely on contributions of funds for our education, environmental, and beautification efforts in the Mobile area. Seeing our name in the budget gives a misleading impression that we receive financial support from the city. We do not. Please rename this item and remove our name, and also from other official documents. It's in a number of different places. Even though KMB was in prior year budgets, the costs were for city employees, location rent, some equipment at the recycle center. The actual sales of the recyclables went to some improvements in the center, some operational expenses, and assisted in funding the outreach and other items used by KMB Inc. The Department of Keep Mobile Beautiful has been eliminated. One employee retired, the others were transferred. The single-stream recycling locations are on city property. So when we looked at the budget, we were alarmed, as I am sure other citizens were, and since the closing of the recycling center eliminated KMB city positions, alienating our volunteers, costs for litter and recycling management have increased substantially and are now proposed to cost more than $1.5 million in the 2019 budget. It is a huge increase from the $290,000 in 2017. The public deserves an explanation on exactly what this money is being spent for. You know, you can't tell that from the budget that I read. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Sherman Martin. Appreciate your service for Keep Mobile Beautiful.
You're welcome.
Mae Smith. Following Mae Smith is Kevin Ball.
Good morning. I am Mae Smith, and I am asking you for money. Did I not understand that the tourist and lodging brought in extra revenue? Taxes?
Ms. Smith, can you give us your name and address, please?
Oh, my name is Mae Smith, 5267 Model Lane Drive North, Mobile, 36693.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, I am asking for money. Did I not understand the tourists and all had a little extra increase in revenues last time? Well, let me tell you where it can go. So we just picked them. It is my understanding that they're going to split funding with the Senior Community Center. The population has outgrown...
Can you speak a little bit closer to the microphone? We can barely hear you up here.
The population has outgrown the Senior Center at Connie Hudson's. The building needs to be expanded. A few months ago, they planted flowers. They needed to be laying brick. There's not enough parking. The billiard tables are worn out. The exercise equipment is old or stays broken. This is needed the most. We do not feel that we can walk the streets of Mobile and be safe. This is our home away from home. The funding that has been budgeted is not enough. What are you thinking? Do you think we can manage on the money that is being allotted with the amount that... No, we can't. You want these managers to pull like a rabbit out of the hat. That is an old story. They cannot do that, and neither could you do the same amount of money with expected. I know that I could go through the budget and probably find some waste, and I know that you could too. Imagine that your parents is on a fixed income and no transportation. We need to keep this bus going and a driver to pick them up each day so they can come to the outside world as we seniors continue to pay taxes. To see each person walk in each morning and say good morning and see that smile on their face is very heartwarming. This is our extended family, and we care about each and every one of them, not about the dollar. These seniors are also very talented. The art classes are always full and need supplies. And the instructor is there is needed to guide them along with their talent. This is not about who gets what, but where it's needed the most. How many of you have been out to the center in the last 2, 3, 4 months to see the activity of this center? One. So you're going to vote on something when it comes your turn for the budget that you have not seen or do not know for yourself. Only lip service from another person? Is this how we run our city? By hearsay? We are so proud of our Mobile, and we wish that you would get on our wagon, excuse me, instead of looking out the window, covering your face with a curtain as we pass by. Let me tell you a story. Last Valentine, remember the little penny Valentines when we were all in school? Everybody was so excited to get. A group of ladies handing out that little penny Valentine with the 2 cookies in a bag as these seniors come in. I did not know it was Valentine Day. I can't remember. This is the only Valentine that I will receive. That's sad that they were so excited over that little penny Valentine that we got 60 years ago. You know, a lot of parents, a lot of daughters, mothers, run in on Saturdays with a quart of milk and a loaf of bread. I did Mom and Daddy's grocery shopping. Gotta go. That's not what they need. They need you to spend time with them. They spend time with us every day. We see these people every day. They need support. They need to be out in the world. They can't feel safe walking the streets of Mobile anymore. You know, and we hate to say it like this, if the funds is voted out that is needed in coming election time, they said to themselves, we outnumber you, we can outvote you. Thank you.
Kevin Ball. Following Kevin Ball is Scott Kinney.
Can I make a comment, Chairman?
Mrs. Rich?
Thank you before the next speaker, only because it's, I've looked over the budget and I also wanted to make clear, especially those with the VIA Center, you'll notice that looks like an increase to the Connie Hudson Regional Senior Center. However, what it did is it took the sales center money and zeroed that out and put it into the Connie Hudson Senior Center. So it's really not an increase to their budget. It's just because their director of that center oversees our 4 sales centers, which is the meal program for seniors. It's a great program. And that's through the Senior Citizen SARPC program. And that is ministered by that director. So that's why you see an increase there. Wanted to clearly point that out. But missing from the senior center is a part-time bus driver, which is a critical position, along with an art instructor, which is also a very critical component to the center. So there's a decline in their revenue as well, and I wanted to point that out. The other seniors that are on the other side of the argument looking for funding as well, and I appreciate everyone's, contacting us about these issues, because this is how the council learns, and so thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes, I appreciate the remarks of Ms. Rich. Bess, are you saying that Connie Hudson Center was level funded?
No.
You're saying it was cut?
Yes.
It's not apparent.
Right, because of the sales center money. That was, if you look at your book, you'll see there's a 0 next to sales center, but that money blended into the Connie Hudson Senior Center.
How much was it cut?
About, that's a good question. I need to do that research. I believe the art instructor is like maybe 22 to 20. I really shouldn't say, I need to get this, and the part-time bus driver. But there's no funding in the operating budget for either one of those positions, which is a concern to the people that utilize that facility.
Okay, because VIA was cut about $16,000. I was just trying to see.
Yeah.
It appeared to me that
I'm sorry that I don't have those exact numbers. I hope to get those.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, since Councilwoman Richards referenced Connie Hudson Center, I want to let the people who are here from the VIA Center know that there will not be a stronger advocate for VIA on this council than LaVon Charles Manzi. It's the premier, it is the premier senior facility in the city of Mobile, and we need to continue to strengthen it. I can appreciate all that Connie Hudson Center does for those who live in West Mobile, but this VIA Center is what services the citizens that live in my district. It's the most diverse center that we have in our city. I have my annual Christmas meeting there because of its diversity, and so I'm putting my council members on notice that I will be fighting for the funding for VIA.
I want Councilman Manzi to know that he will not be in that ring by himself.
Mr. Chairman, if I might.
Mrs. Gregory?
Just a couple of questions, and I don't know if Ashley is here. If she's not, Bess or somebody else might know the answer, but I don't think Connie Hudson is a membership-based, or is it, Bess?
The city doesn't charge for any rec centers. We talked about that when it was even just a brainchild for the city, but because it's not an issue citywide, they do pay for certain courses or materials from time to time.
But it is free. I was just wondering the difference between the number of people who actually go to Connie Hudson versus VIA, if there's a way to even know, because there is no membership fee at Connie Hudson.
Well, they do keep up. People are given a number, and I think it's, last time I heard, it was about 12,000 to 13,000 people that have crossed the door, and they average about 400 to anywhere from 350 to like 450 a day coming in and out of that facility.
And there is a bus, but I think it's limited in its service. It doesn't go.
It's only a part-time one. It can only go 4 miles. At one time when the center first opened, there were 2 full-time bus drivers. They went all over the city picking up people. I wish that was still the case. Then they went down to the half-day bus driver, half-time employee, and they can only go, I believe it's 4 or 5 miles radius to pick up people. And so there are people missing out, unfortunately.
Well, as we continue to go through this budget process, and I know a lot of people are here to talk about different items, but we'll be looking at everything, and something else that we have to keep or have to be cognizant of is the number of seniors who are in our community who may or may not have access to one of these 2 facilities. We do have senior facilities at some of our recreation centers, and some of those rec centers have not received the type of funding that some of these other centers have, and so they are very much lagging behind, even though they serve a number of seniors. And that's actually where some of that sale money goes, is to these recreation centers. So we need to be cognizant of all of the needs. The senior population is certainly growing, and where we do have senior services outside of these two particular facilities, we need to be able to provide funding for them as well, to upgrade what's there, to expand, and to do more. So as we go through the budget process, let's keep that in mind.
Any other comments from the council? Madam City Clerk.
Kevin Ball, and following Kevin Ball is Scott Kenny.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Kevin Ball, address 950 Dolphin Street. I am coming before you today on behalf of Tim Hale, the executive director, because he is tending to an emergency situation because he's an educator. So he is at school at the moment. So I wanted to come before you and humbly request your support, for your continued support for the Gulf Coast Challenge. With the many decisions and tough decisions that you all are tasked with to make here in the near future, you know, what I want to do is offer something a little different, which is a positive piece to the jigsaw puzzle that you have in regards to the budget. We do understand, and I've mentioned and had an opportunity to review the mayor's budget, and there's cuts throughout that budget, I assume, because he projects revenues to be down. But what we want to do is be able to offer a solution or a contribution to addressing just that. And we do that with this event that we call the Gulf Coast Challenge. Now, the Gulf Coast Challenge is an HBCU football game played between two HBCU universities. This is to be held annually, and those teams and universities that tend to come to the city will bring, we anticipate, over 20,000 people inside of the city of Mobile. This city has a history of HBCU games. We had the Gulf Coast Classic many decades ago that was done successfully. In the last 2 years, we had the Fifth Quarter Classic. So we have had HBCU football hosted here in the city for your review and consideration. The difference between this particular project and the previous ones is the scheduled events leading up to it. In your folder that you have before you, there is a scheduled events that you have in that folder that details many of the things that's going to be going on during that week while the universities are here in the city. The economic impact, what we know for the last year or 2 years, we know it's going to have an impact of at least $4 million on the city. So we believe this is just a small investment to make in this particular project that will be a positive contribution to the city of Mobile. So we are humbly requesting support of the city council, the mayor's office, to please have funding, include funding in this 2019 budget, similarly as what has been done with the Senior Bowl and the GoDaddy Bowl. We believe this game and this project would be just as significant, if not more so, especially years going forward. So we ask for you all to consider funding. We ask you to support it, and please come and see what happens on September 22nd here at the Ladd Stadium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, my question.
Mr. Williams?
Did y'all meet during the budget cycle, the administration's budget cycle? Did y'all meet with the mayor?
We did. There was a offer or a request for the city, for the mayor's office to support this game, and I think everybody here has received that proposal, but we did not see it included in 2019's budget.
Did anybody communicate with you after your proposal why you did not receive any funding in this budget?
We have not received a clear or an official response from the mayor's office, no.
What's the unclear message then?
Huh?
This is your chance. What was the unclear message?
I think what I want to do is I'm going to remain positive, and okay. We communicated to the mayor's office that we believe in this project. I personally am passionate about it and do everything in my power and everything that I can to see to it that this game is successful. This game will not be successful if we don't have the commitment and the support of the city. Now, we have received support from the Mobile Sports Authority, has stepped up, and they were a huge, huge partner in making this happen. If it weren't for the Sports Authority, this game would not even occur. But we need additional support. And just as we review the other classic style games, whether you look at New Orleans, whether you look at Birmingham, the city is a contributing factor to that. So we would love to have the mayor's office have as much enthusiasm with this project as it did with South Alabama to make sure that we have this game going on annually.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Mr. Ball, the game is already set. What date is this game?
September 22nd.
The game is already set for September 22nd.
Yes, and we're asking for next year.
That's the point I'm getting to. You're not asking us to give you anything for the September 22nd game. You want to be ready for next year. Correct. The money you're asking for now is for you to be ready for next year, because the game you'll play the game before we vote on the budget next year.
Well, for clarification, the mayor's office and you all approved it. Yeah. They did support us in the sum of $25,000 this year.
I'm not talking about this game. I'm saying you are set to go for this year.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm saying what you're asking us for is for you to be ready for next year.
That is correct. That is correct, for 2019.
Because if the game is played in September, it will be before we even vote on the budget next year. So you want funding now, so you will be ready for next year.
That is correct.
Just like the other two games.
That is correct.
I got your point.
Mr. Chairman?
Mrs. Gregory?
Just a question, Kevin. I know the game is pretty well set for this year. What's the hotel situation look like? You should have some sort of preliminary estimates on all the room nights that are already filled, and I know David's here. He can probably help.
Absolutely. Our indications and the research that we've done thus far is for the last 2 weeks, we've seen an uptick in hotel prices go as far as 20%, and some hotels have increased their prices to 50% of what it normally is just in the last 2 weeks. We know the occupancy level is great downtown because we know for a fact the Renaissance is already sold out. So downtown hotels are already filling up, occupancy levels are high. I can give you the exact occupancy level probably in another 2 weeks, and I'd be happy to give you a report. But early indications are hotels are filling up, and we know because there's been communication. We've been coordinating with groups that have 2, 3, 5 buses that are coming from all over the state and other regions just to come to the city of Mobile. So we know those hotels are going to be filled up on this particular weekend.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I have a question.
Mrs. Rich?
Kevin, do the bands come down and spend the time with us, or do they come just for the day, to your knowledge?
And that's the reason why we have all of the ancillary events beginning on Wednesday, because it encourages them to come and stay hotel nights, lodging tax, sales tax, to encourage and be able to see our beautiful city. So that is the reason why we set up the ancillary events. So we do anticipate, and that's the other reason why we set a late game time, to make sure that they do stay on Saturday night as well.
Mr. Chairman, so I want to add some clarity to some of the things that the council asked, so that you do know that there's a twofold reason for not being included in the budget. Number one is for this upcoming year, there was funding provided by the Sports Authority, and that is the funding that is given to the Sports Authority by the City of Mobile, in addition to the $25,000 that was funded this year. That's number one. Number two, and the more pertinent issue, is in this year's proposal, there is a $175,000 fee that goes to the promoter that is included, and so we could not justify being able to give $100,000 or $200,000 directly to an organization that has a $175,000 promoter fee.
Not sure we all understood that. Can you repeat that?
Sure, I'll repeat it. So what I'm saying is, and I'll speak very clearly and plainly, the second part of that is what I think she was asking, Mr. Chairman. We could not, as an administration, justify giving $100,000 or putting $100,000 or $200,000 in this budget, because this year's submission included a $175,000 promoter fee.
meaning that $175,000 goes to the promoter. And the way that it was presented to the council, that does not mean that we do not support this game or support this program. What it means is we couldn't justify, as it was written and as it was submitted, doing so.
I'd like to respond. I think that's misleading. What we did in our performance contract was submitted an entire budget. Inclusive of that budget, yes, details, because the funds will not go to the promoter, the funds goes to a nonprofit. There's a difference. So all fees have to be stated as to if you have a game ambassador, you have expenses for A, B, C, and D, and there's a laundry list of them. That specifically was one of the line items as to what would be paid. So it wouldn't be just going to that. It was going to the nonprofit, and that's one of the fees.
That is correct. That is correct. Going to the nonprofit, but what we refer to as a promoter fee. And I'll tell you the reason why is because with the other games, say for instance, you look at Dollar General Bowl, this administration didn't set that deal up. And you can't go back in time, but I'm telling you the reason why is that $175,000, what we call a promoter fee, that he refers to. He's correct. It does go to the nonprofit, but we call it a promoter fee.
Is that not the same with Senior Bowl and everybody else? They have management fees.
I have a question. On that management fee, does some of that go towards advertising and print material? And
yes, it goes to expenses for management of the game.
Yeah, so you could maybe have better communication and breakdown of what exactly
we would be happy to provide all of that.
Yeah.
Be happy to. And actually, what he's referring to is not in that particular packet that you have.
Yeah.
The mayor's office has that. We'll be happy to submit that to each council member so you can see exactly what he's seeing.
Mr. Davis?
I see Mr. Cordy is here. I was just wondering what kind of support that the Sports Authority has provided to this game.
Yeah, that'd be better. Everybody will hear you.
The Sports Authority financially has provided approximately $126,000. That includes Ladd Stadium expenses, some help with some of the expenses, plus obviously logistic help with the operations of the games too, just based on our experience with the fifth quarter classic. So, but straight money, approximately $126,000 came out of the Sports Authority budget from county and city funds.
So then you would add to that the $25,000 that the city, that we've already voted on.
Right.
So your request is for an additional $200,000 in addition to all of that.
For next year.
I understand.
Not for this year.
He's going to expect the same from Danny next year.
A budget to run a game like this, and you can see with Senior Bowl and GoDaddy Bowl, is $500,000.
I have a question.
25 plus 25 is...
Is that true, Mr. Corley? I mean, how much does the Sports Authority give Senior Bowl and Dollar General Bowl?
Zero.
Zero.
But the city, the city gives both of those fund. But I think GoDaddy Bowl, which is, I think we give over $1 million to them.
Not really.
To
From my understanding, the city fronts GoDaddy Bowl $1 million, where they have to have a reimbursement, and then the city provides Senior Bowl $200,000. All we're asking is to treat us similarly to those two games. That's all we're asking. Fund us in the same way. Now, obviously, going forward, whatever support we get with the city, we'll be happy to work out with the Sports Authority what we're doing. Okay? Nobody's asking for a governmental agency to fund and it's really not private, but a private entity. But we cannot lose sight as far as what the purpose, why this was brought to the city, and that is for the citizens and for tourism.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Since I've been on this council, every time that we've had these Heritage Bowls, these HBCUs to come and play, there's some confusion. It's somebody always. We giving one team $1 million. I haven't heard one council member ask one question They write that check and give it to them. The rest of them want to know what you going cooking in the chicken, what you going to do. I'm saying, be fair, be true and fair to all of these games. They're going to bring as many people to the city of Mobile as the Senior Bowl. They're going to bring equally as many people. If we're going to give the Senior Bowl 150,000 or 200,000, we have to give this team for next year. They're not asking for this year. There's no need us talking about this year. We through with this year. You set for this year. You're talking about next year. There's no reason in the world for the city not to put up the same amount that we give the Senior Bowl to this group here. They're not going anywhere. They're going to have this game going to be played every year. So we decide we're going to get out of the bowl business. Let's get out of the bowl business. Let's not give them anything. But we've had it before. I want an audit. You got to give us an audit. I don't see where you spend the money. We're not auditing GoDaddy. We treat them all the same. All of this stuff we talk, we're not asking none of this stuff about these other teams. They're asking for $150,000. Either we give it to them or not. All this stuff, let me see what's in the door. Open the freezer, I say either give it to them or not. Treat them the same way you treat the rest of them. I'm for giving them the same amount. Find it somewhere. Cut somebody. That's how I feel about it.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, too.
And then Ms. Gregg.
We're not that far off, folks. I mean, it's from the talk that's going on, it acts like there's a zero for the HBCU ball game, and that's simply not true. It has been routed through some of the monies from the city. I'm not saying it's equal, but some of the monies for this year already taken. It goes through this Sports Authority. Realize that's still the same money. Senior Bowl gets $152,000 from us. The Dollar General Bowl now gets $200 total. They start off with 1.1, but then there's a reimbursement, as Mr. Ball talked about. So we're not talking about zero compared to 152. And what we need to do is find out what that difference is between what is now being passed through or in any way from city budget to the bowl game. Find out what that delta is, and let's find it. Everybody has a management fee. And I think that the director of the Senior Bowl probably makes a fair amount of money. And so to say we won't give to anything that where somebody is getting a management fee is not completely upfront. So let's just all agree that in the coming weeks, that this is one of the ones that we're going to look at.
I agree.
It may not show up as 152, but a combination of what is being given directly, what is being given through the Sports Authority should be close to the same amount. It may not be equal, but it should be close to the same amount. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair.
Mrs. Gregory?
And I appreciate what Mr. Williams said. And Kevin, I think you were probably saying also that next year, if that delta was found, then the Sports Authority may not have to provide as much money going forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If we're funded at the same level that the other two games are funded, then we won't have the need to ask the Mobile Sports Authority for the dollar amount that we've done for this year. But without their help this year, this game would not have happened.
Exactly. Okay.
And we still, even with that being said, they have been a good partner, and I know they wanted to grow with this game as well. So we still want to include them in that process. So I don't want to say because we got we received funding from the city, we're just going to throw them away. We don't want to definitely do that. So we'll definitely work that out.
It just may not be the cash money, but all of the promotion and work that they do as far as access and bringing people in and helping to coordinate.
Absolutely.
They're very important in that
Absolutely.
process. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just want to say that this game in particular is going to be important to the continued vibrancy at Ladd Stadium. This game is it's near and dear to the heart of a lot of people in our community. I support supporting this game, And I'm hopeful that we're able to put our heads together and do what we need to do to make certain that we continue to be a great classic football town. I believe we could rival what's going on in Birmingham if we put the emphasis behind it, if we put the resources behind it. It takes money to make money, and I think all of us realize that. And so I appreciate what we've heard today.
Thank you so much.
Any other comments from the council?
I turned over the back of your packet, and I'm very impressed with your corporate sponsorship, and I hope that continues to grow, because that's really a way to move your message.
And that helps with sponsors when we say we have the City of Mobile, the Sports Authority, and the City Council in support of it. Any other questions?
I think that's it, Mr. Ball. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Get ready for the challenge.
Ready.
Scott Kenny, and following Scott Kenny is Ronald Hunt.
Mr. Vice President, I'd like to make a comment.
Mr. Mayor?
You know, the mayor sits here and listens to the funding crisis that everybody suffered. And we also are very sensitive to the cuts that are made. But we inherited a lot of deals. The GoDaddy deal was a deal that this council approved prior to the mayor being here. Not everybody on this council, but the council approved it. At the time, $1,150,000 was fronted, and in return, they got the promotional fee back, which was $950,000. So the $200,000 is what it cost. Today, because of a contract previously signed that we're honoring, we pay $1,150,000. And today, because things have changed, we get $200,000 back. So that's a differential of, let's just say, $700,000 from where we were when it started and where we are today. And every single organization, via Penelope House and everybody, if you stop and think about it, you know, if that was not a bad deal that we inherited, we may not have to cut anything from y'all. So it's not an easy task. The city council sits here and says, cut somebody, I don't care who. Well, they do care who. And so I just wanted to clarify that. We're sensitive to everybody's needs, but we cannot fund everybody's wants.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay. Yep.
I'll say this. The mayor can propose the budget, but only the council can budget. It is in our court now.
Yeah, so ask him to clarify that. That don't make sense.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Mrs. Gregory?
I mean, I understand this is not the time for debate, and we've got plenty of time for that, but I just want to be clear. Mayor, did you say we only get $200,000 back? I thought it was the other way around.
No. This was a contract that has been in existence for some time. It was last amended in 2013. The way the contract reads is the city's contribution was fixed at $1,150,000. Without understanding why, the contract says that the GoDaddy Bowl gives back to the city only what they receive in sponsorship fees. Originally GMAC, then GoDaddy, and now the Dollar General Bowl. Why that contract reads that way, I'll never understand. It does. It was a lengthy contract, doesn't expire until 2020.
Oh, 2020, I was going to ask that too.
So obviously no incentive at all on the part of the sponsor to obtain the largest amount of sponsorship fees from the title sponsor, and we're stuck.
Can I ask a question? And this might be legal, and we will have time to debate this, so if I don't have an answer. But I thought in every governmental contract there's a clause that if we can't do it because there are other pressing governmental needs, we can regroup and redo a contract. It's almost like there's an out somehow. I don't mean that unsavory, it's very public, but that because we are governmental and we have a million things to look out for, could that be amended?
I wish that were the case. My understanding, and I'll defer to City Council Attorney on this, but
Right.
my understanding is that is an emergency escape valve that says if there is not funding available, then we're out. But we have funding available.
Right, but does it have to be at the level that we're losing 700,000, which, my goodness, that would answer a lot of prayers for people in those other service contracts, and they form the bulk of this community. It's a narrow focus on football, no offense to anybody, but just saying. And so I'm wondering if we could sit down and do the right thing, because that seems most twisted.
You'll get no argument there from me.
I just want to say for the record that there was a contract passed before I was on the council. Put that on the record. I was not on the council when that passed.
Mr. Vice President.
Mr. Davis. And neither was Joe.
You know, in a perfect world, the city would have plenty of money to do the important work it has to do in terms of its primary responsibilities, which are to provide for the public safety and maintain the plant. And by that I mean our buildings, our roads, everything else, the stormwater runoff, all that kind of stuff. And then also sufficient funds to really provide robust health and cultural amenities in the city. Because of poor decisions that have been made over a long period of time, we're not in that position. We have, what is it, Mr. West, $220 million in long-term debt. Is that the number? We have $250 million in deferred maintenance. We went for years and years and years in this city without spending anything on the infrastructure. We have $80 or $100 million in deferred maintenance on our buildings. We still have a $100 million unfunded liability in the police firefighters pension plan. We have buildings. We have the Hank Aaron Stadium, which is about to be empty. We have the Gulf Quest. We have the Civic Center. We have all of these buildings that are underutilized and have not been maintained. And the revenue is a limit. I mean, the revenue is the revenue, and it's going to fluctuate a little bit. It'll go down. It'll go up. But basically, we've got to do all of that at the same time, and it can't be all done at the same time. There have got to be economies taken somewhere. I've listened to these folks today, and we're going to hear some more, and I'm delighted to do it. But what happens is that everybody wants us to spend more money on their project, but I have yet to have someone come down here and suggest to me where to take the money from for that project. And that is the job of this city council. For everybody that wants more money, if we're going to spend more money on the Gulf Coast Challenge, we're going to spend $200,000 more next year. We got to find the $200,000 elsewhere in the expense budget. So I would just ask that everybody be patient and respectful of the process, because it's a very difficult process. You have 8 different ideas on how the revenue ought to be spent, and resolving that is an unattractive, stressful business. And I would just ask everybody to be patient with us as we go through this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I don't disagree with him. Yes, it's a stressful process, but it's doing exactly what it is intended to do. The mayor presents us a budget, and we are now debating the merits of the budget that he's presented to us. This is exactly how the process works. And so, hey, I'm looking forward to having these discussions so that we can finally come up with a budget that incorporates some of what the citizens of Mobile would like to see in it. This is the process. And so I'm committed, and I know my colleagues are, and I know the administration is, to working together to put together a budget. We've done it 4 years in a row. Without fail, we have done it 4 times. I guarantee you we're going to do it a 5th. It's going to take some give and take. That's what this process demands, give and take. No one person is going to get all that they want. It's just a perfect example of how all of this works together. So I'm pleased at where we are at this point. We're going to have some other things. Madam City Clerk.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, pardon me, Mr. Wood.
So I want to make one thing clear. It seems from the commentary back and forth that the administration doesn't support this brand new endeavor, this HBCU Classic. That nothing could be further from the truth. It was the administration that went to bat with the Sports Authority, helping to push the funding that we have now, along with the additional $125,000. Not being included in the budget is because there's no track record for this particular brand new game. Now, we have the Gulf Coast Classic, and we have, of course, the 5th Quarter Classic, but those were run by different people. This is a new entity, a new track record. We've gone out on a limb the very first year to give that support, but we're not putting it in the budget because we don't have economic impact or any of the things going forward. So just knowing that that was our process, and the one before this one, the 2 before this, didn't continue to move forward. So we've stepped out to be able to support this first year just without putting it in the budget because of that lack of a track record.
Okay.
Mr. Richardson.
So what is your advice for it not to be put in the budget?
Say again?
Was it your advice for it not to be put in the budget?
We had a group decision talking about it distinctively about what we were going to put in the budget and not put in the budget. And I can tell you, I concur with not being in the budget this year, but I also concur with them having funding from the Sports Authority and making sure that we can create a track record, and also advocating for the additional $25,000, which is going forward.
Let me close this budget discussion out by saying, in the midst of gloom and doom, we grew our revenue by $5 million last year. Revenue did not go down, it went up. You know what? We project revenue to go up again next year. In the midst of gloom and doom, I just want you to know, things are not getting worse, things are getting better, but we want it to be better across the board for everybody.
Mr. Chairman.
Mrs. Gregory.
I apologize. I'm going to have to leave. My appointment, which was at 2 o'clock, has been moved up to 1 o'clock, and I need to go on and get going for that because of the weather. So.
I totally understand. Yes,
all right.
ma'am. Thank you. Madam City Clerk.
Okay, we have John Browning introducing Scott Kinney, and following Scott Kinney will be Ronald Hunt.
Thank you, members of the council, Mr. Mayor. My name is John Browning. I live at 67 Marston Lane, Ms. Gregory's district. I serve at the pleasure of this council on the board of the Mobile Public Library System. As you know, by state law, we are appointed by you gentlemen and ladies to serve you and be fiduciaries of the funding which you provide to the Mobile Public Library System. I currently serve as the treasurer, and so today I'm here to speak on the budget proposal, which saw a striking $500,000 decrease in our funding, which amounts to 7.12% of the funding of the library system. Scott Kinney is here as our executive director. He will speak to the issues of the impact that this will have on our system, primarily with regards to our dedication of services to our citizens and the way it's going to hurt our delivery of services throughout this community. You each have a packet in front of you, and again, I'll let him speak to that. But I can tell you that when this issue came up before our board meeting last week, it was with unanimous agreement from all of your personal representatives that you've appointed to this board that we were going to come and advocate strongly in favor of level funding and not to be decreased this year. We are certainly willing to answer any questions you have on an individual basis as you go through this process. And as Councilman Dave said, we understand that you have a lot of people tugging on you right now, but we really want to advocate that this be one of your priorities to make sure that the citizens of Mobile continue to have access to an excellent library system. As treasurer for the last year, I have watched as this board operates, and I can tell you, as someone like many of you who have been on other volunteer boards, this board has been great to work with the exception of that issue that we had last week that we won't discuss. That was a difficult issue. But I will tell you that overall it runs very smoothly. And it works very smoothly because of the dedicated staff and because of the individuals that do their best to make sure that the library is run very, very efficiently. When the City Council decides to vote for pay raises for its employees, we feel it's only fair to follow suit with pay raises for the employees of the city. That's only fair because they are paid through the city. All the funding that comes to the library system comes to the city with some grant funding from the state of Alabama, some of which is matching. So with a cut that comes through the city, there's going to be some collateral effect with the state funding that we receive. So you're not only talking about a $500,000 decrease, but you're talking about major substantial decreases by our matching funding from the state. We apply for grants. We apply for every one we can possibly get. We talk to every private enterprise in this community, and this community does support its library system with great strength. I will tell you that statistically, we're probably one of the highest used facilities in all of our facilities representing all of your districts with over 192,000 active library card holders. That's almost matching the entire population of the city of Mobile. We stretch into the county, into other municipalities, and yes, we do have support and funding from the county as well as those other municipalities. But the fact of the matter is, as the treasurer these past few years, it's been very, very difficult to be able to find the funding, even with the level of funding that we've had. So this $500,000 decrease would be a substantial hit, and it would be, first of all, make it my job very, very difficult to represent you in advocating for the best services possible for our library system. So with that, I'll pass it on to Scott Kinney, who will speak for the association.
Scott Kinney, Director of the Mobile Public Library, 5317 Isabel Way South, Mobile, Alabama. And again, I couldn't have said it any better than what John said. We are the largest public library in the state of Alabama. We've also been voted by several publications of being the best library in Alabama, whether that's true or not, because there are some fine libraries in Alabama. I have given you a packet that shows service area funding and services provided by the libraries that are our peer libraries and services offered and population served as close as we can get. But again, we are the largest. You can see we serve a population of 372,882. And we have an annual budget of $9,581,493. That's a per capita.
Mr. Kenny.
Yes.
Let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
Because, and I don't mean to cut you. Well, yes, I do mean to cut you off.
That's fine.
Because all this information you are reciting is in here, and we're going to read it.
I know you.
What I want to know, and I think what this council wants to know, is how will the Mobile Public Library's services to our communities be impacted by the proposed cut?
A $500,000 cut right now,
yes, sir,
would be catastrophic to us. We will have to reduce services, and when you look at the back sheet of this, you can see since I've been here in 2013, our FTE count has gone down significantly. The only way we can save any additional funds, unfortunately, is to reduce staff costs. You all know when you're looking at your governmental budgets, staffing is basically anywhere from 60 to 67% of a governmental budget. With that amount of money, the only way we can reduce to account for that kind of a loss is through cutting staff. So that means most likely cutting hours of operations, a branch, something of that nature. That'll be a board decision that we'll have to discuss.
Any other questions you might have for Mr. Kenny?
Is Mr. Kenny finished? Were you finished?
The only thing I really wanted to add to you is when you look at the operating per capita, I just want to let you know out of 262 libraries, we're ranked 85th in the state in per capita funding.
Mr. Kinney, my recollection, and Mr. Wesh is going to have to help me with this, my recollection is that the cities of Huntsville and Montgomery, who are about our same size, have about the same population as our city.
We serve 146,000 people
let
more.
me finish, Mr. Kinney. Have significantly lower budgets than, or the support from those cities is significantly less than what the city of Mobile is providing. Can you give me those numbers and around?
Yes, in the budgets for Montgomery and Huntsville that you referenced that are proposed budgets at this point, so they're for the same fiscal year that we're talking about here. Montgomery's public library is funded a total of a little less than $5 million, and that is split evenly between the city of Montgomery and Montgomery County. In Huntsville, it's not clear exactly how much the county contributes because they contribute to several different systems, or a couple of different systems. But the city of Huntsville's total contribution to the Huntsville Public Library System is $3.85 million.
And in the proposed, in the proposed budget, our contribution to the Mobile Public Library would be what?
Approximately $6.5 million.
In the proposed budget?
Yes.
So around $3 million more than Huntsville is providing to their library, and what is that? $3.5 million more than Montgomery is providing to their library. Is that about right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the question, Mr. Kinney, that I would have to you is, have you spent any time looking at those two library systems to determine how they operate at a significantly less than total funding than the Mobile Public Library does, and based on that, making some determinations on what are the differences?
The differences is for Montgomery City County Library. They serve a population of 146,000 people less, so their per capita funding is $21.83. If you were to take that times 146,000, that gets them to about $8.1 million. Because they are serving that population, their state aid money is going to go up, so that's going to give them another 150,000. And because they're serving more population, their fees and fines are going to go up. So they're going to be very comparable to what our budget is right now. When you look at Huntsville, Madison County, that's one that is hard for me to do, and I've been in government, either state government, county government, or city government for over 35 years. I've been executive director of libraries for 20. So when I say this, I'm not trying to throw Huntsville, Madison County under the bus. I think they have some direct payments for their library that are not being reported to the Alabama Public Library Services. I have a feeling that some of their building costs, their electrical, their heating, and things like that, that in our case, when we're paying for heating, air conditioning, that's almost $1.5 million a year for our 11 branches. It's similar for them because they are our closest peer. And if they are serving their population, which is about 370,000 people, and they're doing it on that budget, they are the best library in the state and one of the best in the country, because I don't know how they're doing it on that budget, because I know what we're doing, and we are barely scraping by. And
but you know what I'm interested in. What I'm interested in, I'm not looking at the total population, because what's being asked here is for the citizens of Mobile to provide funding to a library system. So the question is not how many people are using the library, this library system, but how many residents of the city of Mobile are using this library. Because my concern is that, as with many other things, what's happening is the residents of the city of Mobile are being asked to subsidize the attendance by people who don't live in the city of Mobile.
Right. I don't have this.
I don't want to be, I'm trying not to be argumentative.
No, I understand, Councilman Daves. I will get you the exact figure, because I can tell by library card holders by zip code.
Right, I figured you could do that.
System. I would say the vast majority, probably in the 70 percentile, are within the city limits of Mobile. By far, our county residents are smaller.
That'd be good information.
And we do have that, and we will look that up for you. But I can tell you the things that we are using, as John stated, is the teen services that we have, the 90,000 people that are going to attend library programs this year. It was 80,000 last year. When I came here in 2013, we only had 45,000 people attend library programs. And we're at the same budget now that we were then. And we've increased by reducing staff. We've done our job fiscally. We are a fiscally sound organization. Mr. Browning could not have said it any better. Since I've been here, we've reworked every contract. We put in a $600,000 RFID self-check system and circulation system to go integrate with our integrated library system. That's allowed us to reduce staff because we have self-checks and our bandwidth is faster. We've actually increased our bandwidth and reduced costs for our bandwidth. So we're gig speed network now, paying less than when I came here in 2013. And so we really are fiscally responsible, and we strive to do that. And I understand that things are tough all around, and I appreciate what the mayor and the budget office has gone through, and you as a council, and what you have to do. But I can tell you, we have 1.2 million visitors a year. Our trade association has a return on investment calculator. And when I run our numbers through there, for every tax dollar spent, our residents get $4 in return of services.
Thank you.
I have a question?
Mrs. Rich?
Do you think with Huntsville they might have philanthropic gifts that go
could,
back generations
yes,
that fund their library? Because Mobile is kind of hurting in that arena.
Right, and that is a possibility. Yeah, their Friends of the Library Group and their foundation could be supporting some of their costs too. And that's one of those things I can't get a hold of. I do have the Alabama Public Library Service trying to investigate that. And like I said, I'm not throwing them under the bus because they may actually be doing exactly what they're reporting, and I don't know. It just seems very low to me in my experience. But maybe they are.
Do we have an active, well, I know we have a Friends of the Library.
Yes, we do.
Are they active financially?
Yes.
To what degree?
They have total assets, and if you wanted to look up their 990, it'd be around 262,000.
How much support are they providing annually to the library?
They are providing annually, roughly, give or take, on the year, on average, $30,000 to $40,000. Since I've been here, we've also brought in $1.5 million worth of grants since 2013.
Vice President.
Mr. Small?
Yeah, I do agree with Ms. Rich. I have heard the same thing, especially TVA, which is Tennessee Valley Authority. But my question is, we compared Huntsville and Montgomery. We know that Mobile was once the second largest city in Alabama. What about Birmingham? I mean,
Birmingham has a $16,521,876 budget.
16 million.
$16 million budget.
And
$16.5 million budget. And they serve 212,461. And you have to remember the Birmingham Metroplex has some other fine libraries there. They have Mountain Brook, they have Hoover, they have Vestavia Hills, they have Homewood. All those libraries, if you put their populations together and added their budgets together, that'd be a $25 million, $30 million budget serving the same population we are.
That's my home.
Now, that's not a fair comparison in all honesty, because it's different taxing authorities and things like that.
Yes.
But
just saying.
all I can stress is we are doing our best to be very frugal with taxpayer dollars and serve the public in the best fashion we can.
If you could get us those numbers of the people that you actually serve by the library cards, because that would be Mobile residents.
Well,
we will email that out to you today.
I'd like not only Mobile residents, I'd like to know the other zip codes. And I'd also like to know for the other communities that provide funding, by zip code, if you would also list the level of funding that they provide, so that we can kind of have a full understanding of where all of these resources are coming. Because I hear what Councilman Davis is saying. I'd like to know what everybody else who has access to the library system is contributing.
Okay, and what we have is we have funding through the county. We run the Saraland Public Library on contract for the city of Saraland, and that's roughly, I believe, Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, $225,000 per year. And we run the Sims Public Library on contract for the county, and that's about $188,000 per year, I believe.
But if you could include all that information in what you're saying, that would be most helpful.
It's also part of your city audit as well. That's broken down in there as well.
We appreciate it. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Madam City Clerk.
Ronald Hunt, and following Mr. Hunt is Tim Wills.
Hello, I'm Ronald Hunt. I reside at 5 North Fulton Street. I moved back into the city in the last 3 weeks, and if the probate court is still open, I'm going to go transfer my registration this afternoon if they haven't closed because of the hurricane.
Well, welcome back.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be a part of Mobile.
Yes,
I guess
sir.
I'm kind of a community advocate. In years past, we've had a finance committee meeting where I was able to hear you ask some of the questions to Paul Wesch and the mayor and his staff, and I haven't been able to do that this year, so I don't know if I'm totally qualified on everything I'm going to say. I'd like to get a greater understanding of what's going to happen with some of the things in this budget, so I hope that that will be happening soon. I would like to address a couple of questions, then make some comments, and I will defer to Mr. Wesch or to the mayor, however they wish to respond in the future. But I'm concerned about a number of things. There's a $1 million reduction in retiree insurance. Now, maybe it's made up somewhere else, but there's a line item in there that has a $1 million reduction in retiree insurance. The mayor is sending out an email, and it's being published in the Lanyap, and it's being published in the Mobile Press Register. There's a $2 million increase in public works. But when I look at the public works budget, it says $550,000 reduction there and a $2 million increase in public services. And they're rearranging the management of some of the agencies like street cleaning and sidewalks and some of the public works and changing management. And I wonder how that affects some of the city employees that are managers. What is going to happen with that $550,000 reduction? How is that affecting people's lives? Is it an efficiency increase? Is it being able to operate our city more effectively, or is it affecting our employees? So those are some of the questions I have that I've not been able to ask in the last week that I hope during this process that are answered. I'm also concerned about some of the agencies here that haven't sent representation so far, like AltaPoint. AltaPoint's getting a $60,000 decrease. And I guess if you're a huge agency, that's not a lot of money. But having at one time run the Survivors of Mental Illness Outreach nonprofit drop-in center, $60,000 funds a lot of services for people that need things, at least as AltaPoint supports our organization and some of the other people. The Alabama Contemporary Arts Center is being reduced $10,000. Penelope House, $9,000. McKimmey Place, $1,750. As a former nonprofit director, these are all things that make challenges for people that have lost money. And I think it's wonderful that we're going to support things like the tennis center, we're going to support these football games, but I think people matter. We've cut the wave transit so people don't get around with disabilities nearly as much as easily as they used to because of reduced routing. And you can't get up into North Mobile County like you used to with the wave transit anymore because of the reductions we made to the wave transit. Now we're reducing things to the Mobile Public Library. That's where a lot of people with disabilities and people with low income have internet access and are able to get knowledge that they can't afford to buy the book on Amazon or at Books A Million. So they go to the library to get their information, and we're probably looking at a situation where hours are going to be reduced and people are going to have less access to internet or less access to be able to access the library. These are all concerns, and I hear what the mayor said a second ago. We talk about this shell game. We start moving things around. We make priorities. We decide who gets what, and it's difficult. And as I told one of the advocates I was talking to on the phone this weekend, I think the mayor really does care about Mobile. I think he really wants to see our city thrive. But I think there's often a problem that we value some people more than others. We value people with economic resources and economic clout and economic power. And I honestly think everyone matters, and I think our budget should reflect that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Thank you. Madam City Clerk.
Tim Wills, and following Tim Wills is Reggie Hill.
Good afternoon, folks. I won't take up much of your time. I know we're getting closer to a storm, and you've heard a lot of comments today about the budget. I'm Tim Wills, CEO for Boys and Girls Clubs, 1102 Government Street, 36604. Yes, I am here in reference to our performance grant, but also the 10% overall cut, or about $146,000 cut to performance contracts in this budget. More importantly, though, for the last over the summer, I actually spent a lot of time talking to citizens of the city of Mobile. I took time out of my day to attend the 3 public forums and the 12 community meetings that happened around Mobile. I attended 12 of what I believe were 13 community meetings at senior and community centers and libraries and churches around town. Some about 15 hours I took out of my July to hear from people about what they thought was important. And the cuts in this budget do not reflect what the people have said all summer. It's 2 groups of folks that people are most concerned about: kids and seniors. We've heard from seniors today. I'm here to talk to you about our kids in our community and how important the services not just Boys and Girls Clubs provide, but all those performance contract entities provide as well. I know the city won't get a report back from this consulting firm until March, but I'll be more than happy to sit with anybody and tell you exactly what folks told that firm as you enter into these discussions. Not just the cut to the performance contracts, but also in the budget for Parks and Recreation. What we know is that Parks and Recreation does not serve the needs of the people, especially young people, in Mobile. It needs more funding, the staff needs more help, and they need more programming. Young people especially need a safe and positive place to go after school, on the weekends, and during the summers. And today, we're not meeting that gap, and we have to do better. 2 years ago, when I moved to Mobile, I came to this council. I said that you measure a community based on its investments in 2 vulnerable groups: kids and seniors. Today, I come to you with another quote, and it's pretty simple. Maya Angelou said some time ago that when people show you who they are, believe them. When people show you who they are, believe them. It's the role of the administration and the city and the mayor to present a budget to the council. And they do that based on what they believe the priorities and are important to the city. It's the city's council's responsibility to provide the checks and balances on that. And by voting on that budget, you affirm those commitments, those values that the city has put forward. So I ask you to think about that as you vote on this budget. I ask you to consider that. So when people think about who you are, what do you want them to believe? Thank you.
Reggie Hill. Following Reggie Hill is Stephanie Benisate. I can't understand the handwriting. Feeding the Gulf Coast.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, Mayor Stimpson, citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, good morning. Well, good afternoon, rather. Reggie Hill, 1007 Center Street, and I rise today to speak as well about the budget. And I want to give, we've heard a lot of quantitative information today, and I want to give more of a qualitative approach to the same fiscal endeavor that we have before us. And before I do that, I just want to say it's so good to have my friend, Mr. Ron Hunt, back in the chambers. I've missed his dialogue to the council, and it's good to have people who bring the issues in a fair manner to our leaders. That's what we're supposed to do. In the letter addressing the budget, the first paragraph, our mayor asks us to examine this proposal as an ongoing effort to serve the citizens of Mobile. Now, I'm praying and hoping that this is a representation of all citizens and not just a collective few, but we've had different takes on that today. But this leads to my first question, because my concern is really looking at the performance contracts as well. And it's how many new recipients for performance contracts were submitted in the fiscal year 2019 budget.
They don't submit anything to us. It's the mayor's, it was the mayor's budget.
Correct. No, I'm asking how many new recipients for performance contracts were submitted. There weren't any? Okay.
Have you looked at the list?
I just started reviewing the budget today, and so that's why I'm trying to see if there was anything submitted that wasn't clarified. Yes, sir.
I gave the rules at the beginning of the meeting. You don't mind. We're not going to address any individual council member. If you have questions for the administration, if you could put those questions in writing and submit them to the administration, because this council can't answer questions relative to a budget we didn't put together.
Well, I thought you were going to address my question, Mr. Chairman.
No, sir, because I don't have the answer.
but I thought you would ask the appropriate member of the council or the administration. That's what's said in the rules.
Allow you, what you need to do is write all those questions down, submit them to Mayor Stimson's office, because you're asking us, and we are going through the budget just like you are. The mayor presented the budget to us, so we don't have questions relative to the budget.
Well, no, what I'm saying is in the address of the rules, you always tell us that you'll address the appropriate council member or member of the administration.
Right.
So when I was asking the question, I was hoping that you would address the appropriate member
Oh,
who
no,
could
sir, you don't have
answer
to go through me.
the question.
Go through him directly. He's your mayor just like he's mine. Go through him directly, write your questions
I
out.
believe if it was easy to go directly to the office, you wouldn't have so many citizens to come down and address the
I'm not
council.
going back and forth on that. If you have any other commentary relative to the budget,
Well, I do. I'll continue.
to the budget, bro, stick to the budget.
Looking at the previous fiscal year, the budget that was given, without a single penny from the city, county, or the banks, I think Success for the Future did pretty well as in contributing to the overall makeup of the quality of life here. And so as we move beyond the Labor Day celebration, I want us to look at some young people who've done some serious work in our community. And this is what worthwhile outreach looks like. And these are young people who are not just the leaders of tomorrow, they're the change agents of today. And so it says this, and I'll send this information to you as well. It says, who is the only youth group to organize and host a forum for mayoral and city council candidates in this previous fiscal year? Mu Kappa Phi Music Organization, an affiliate of Success for the Future. Molding Tomorrow Today was their inaugural leadership initiative, and we had Councilwoman Bess Rich to attend as well. We're very thankful for that. We will host our second annual Molding Tomorrow Today on Sunday, October 21st, 2018, and this will embody statewide candidates. Who was the only youth organization to organize and host an event at the Mobile Area Chamber of Commerce? Of course, this was IHIL, another affiliate organization. That's my 4-minute time.
Mr. Hill, let me ask you another question. I don't know if it's the time or what, but I want to just get to the heart of the matter. Are you interested in being a performance contractor?
Absolutely, and I would like for it to actually reflect real performance
There we
that
go.
matters within the
So
city. But
that's
I wanted
what
to lead up to so you could see what
That's
it was.
what you're looking for. Because you're touting to us all of your achievements, which are numerable. I know of your organization. They are numerable. The point I'm making to you is, all of that is through the administration. Have you had any contact with the administration relative to a performance contract?
To my point that I made earlier, I believe majority of the citizens come to address the council.
You're not answering my question, Mr. Hill.
I am answering your question, sir.
I asked you a direct question. Have you made
I've reached out to the administration on multiple occasions,
Yes, sir.
and I believe that this will be the best setting for me to communicate the information for them to consider. Also knowing that although they present the budget to you all, it's up to the council to make the amendments and make the suggestions of what should be done and put in there. So I'm not just playing it on just the administration, because this is a collective body. This is
Do
collective.
you have, the Gulf Coast Challenge has presented us a body of information. The library has presented us a body of information. Do you have any information?
Yes, I would love to submit some information,
Well,
but I
could
want to know the consideration before doing that. That's all it was, to bring that to the council.
Could you present all your information to us in the same form? We'll have this budget for the next 2 weeks, and we're gonna give it out. We're gonna give it some consideration, Mr. Hill.
Okay, and has there been a finance committee meeting scheduled regarding?
Not yet, but if we can get through the commentary, public commentary today, we'll be moving forward with setting that up.
And will you allow citizens to address the council then?
I don't believe so. This is the citizens' opportunity here. I don't believe that's been our normal custom, but you're certainly welcome to email us, talk to us. We're not hiding during this budget process.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and thank you for all you do in the community. Madam City Clerk.
Okay, Stephanie Bensath?
I'm sorry. That's all right. It's a weird name.
Okay. And following Stephanie is Denise Shallot.
Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Benshot, and I am representing Feeding the Gulf Coast. We're located at 5248 Mobile South Street, Theodore, Alabama 36582. Our president and CEO, Kathy Pope, regrets she could not speak to you today herself. As we are a disaster relief organization, she is in the midst of helping our organization prepare for, in case any disaster should happen with this coming tropical storm, so that we can serve the community immediately following for any needs. I'm here today to talk to you about the performance contract that we've requested for the upcoming budget year, and also to thank the council and the city for the previous funding that we've received. The past few years, we've received $20,000 to support our mobile pantry program. This program has, in the last year, supported the distribution of over 100,000 pounds to Mobilians, totaling over 16,000 citizens of Mobile County, of the city of Mobile, in fact. And so far, the funding that we've received in 2018, which we've received only a portion of the 20,000 we were allotted so far, we have distributed over 51,000 pounds of food to reach more than 3,100 households. If you've not attended a mobile pantry, I'd like to tell you a bit more about what that looks like. We send to different locations throughout Mobile, the city of, thousands of pounds of fresh produce, canned goods, dry goods, dairy, bread, and meats. These are things that low-income households are not able to access or afford on their own. In Mobile County, Feeding America's 2018 Map the Meal Gap report estimates that over 18% of households, or 78,000 household people, do not have enough food throughout the year. This includes 24%, or 24,000 children. These are the youngest of our residents, and they're not able to get that food on their own. They rely on programs from their schools, such as the free and reduced price lunch program, or they rely on programs from us, such as our backpack program, or after school meals program, or summer feeding program, to get those meals. The mobile pantry program is similar in that it helps serve not just the children in the household, but it serves the entire household. This includes a lot of seniors as well. The funding that we received so far in 2018 has provided to, as I said, over 31 individuals in Mobile, including 890 seniors and 998 children. At a mobile pantry distribution, we'll work with different community organizations such as the Boys and Girls Club, Providence Hospital's Guadalupe Center, the Joseph Project located at Dumas Wesley Community Center, Catholic Social Services, New Generation Church, and similar organizations to provide these distributions. These are placed strategically throughout the city so that residents in low-income areas with limited access to grocery stores are able to get the foods that they need. At a mobile pantry distribution, you'll find that a lot of people start showing up hours before a distribution starts. Some of them even show up at 5 a.m. for a distribution that won't start till 10 o'clock. I don't know about you, but I can't remember the last time I stayed in line for 5 hours. Not for Harry Potter, and definitely not for Elton John even. These households are standing in line for 5 hours because it's their only hope to get food for their house that night. It's not because they're looking for a handout, it's because there's nothing at home when they leave that day. So they rely on that food. I asked the city to continue supporting at the same level of $20,000, as the reduction of 10% would mean 200 households less that we would be able to serve with this program. And we know the need is out there. We also know that even with this money that we're currently serving, we're still not quite meeting that need. Thank you so much for your time today.
Denise Shallett, and following Denise is Wesley Young.
Good afternoon, Council Chair.
Good afternoon.
Mayor, council members, staff, and residents of Mobile. My name is Denise Chaillot. I reside at 5971 Windy Hill Circle South, Mobile 36619. I'm here today to shed light on this administration's unwilling to listen, work with, negotiate, and compromise on the issue of bonuses and raises for all City of Mobile employees. Because the mayor refused to meet with Mr. Wesley Young, a retired City of Mobile employee who is president of the Public Service Workers Association, a panel of 8 members of this association were appointed by him to meet with, not the mayor, but Mr. John Peavy and Mr. Ricardo Woods, city attorney. The first meeting was called with less than an hour's notice, possibly in the hopes that we couldn't attend. All were present except one who went to the hospital that afternoon with a medical emergency. The panel walked into the meeting on time and ready to talk. The first thing we said was, we are here today on behalf of all city employees who serve the City of Mobile, not just Public Works. I can't remember which of the gentlemen said it, but the response was, we're not here to talk about the rest of the city employees, we're only going to discuss Public Works. We were all stunned. We went into the meeting with a strategy. We were professional and respectful. Mr. Peavy and Mr. Woods indicated they were impressed with the way we handled ourselves and how prepared we were. We thought we were on the right path. The second meeting came 3 to 4 weeks later. Again, we were prepared, even bringing proof of the funds available to support a $5,000 bonus and raise of 10%, with money left over to give back to the city and more personnel could be hired. At the end of that meeting, they said they would look at the budget and the information we gave them and get back to us probably before 3 weeks' time. That did not happen. After our chairperson sent emails and or text to Mr. Peavy requesting a date for the third meeting, she was ignored and the communications were unanswered. Then the email appeared from the city clerk's office announcing today's meeting to discuss the budget. This means that Mr. Peavy and Mr. Woods purposely allowed the budget to be presented for review by the council and mayor without giving us the benefit of the third meeting to see what they came up with and how we could work together to come to an agreement. This tarnished the spirit of the process. This also means they presented the budget for review without inserting raises into it, unless it's hidden under a different name or something, but as far as I can tell, there's no raises in the budget. Instead, the funds we proved to be available were systematically hidden or never considered in the budget. I've never seen such a blatant disregard for anyone, let alone city employees. And administration wonders why we have no respect for supervision or management. I assert that you, the council, were presented with a grossly inaccurate budget, possibly a false budget, not just because we weren't included, but there are several questionable categories and at least one department conveniently added. Does anyone here know what Public Works Special Operations is and why it has a budget of $1.766 million? That's our raise money. Council members, we ask you today to go over the budget yourselves, compare last year's budget with this year's, and I'm pretty certain it won't be hard to find the hidden and leftover money to be given to our employees. Now that Mr. Beckham is gone, garage overtime should diminish greatly. As for all city employees not included in this discussion, please know that the Public Service Workers Association tried to include everyone, whether they were a member of our association or not, but we were shot down without a viable explanation. It is not fair, nor is it equitable. Council, in light of the underhanded and blatant disregard for all city workers and this panel's good faith effort to resolve this, we respectfully request at least a 15% raise and a $5,000 bonus for all Public Works departments. Initially, we found 10%. We are actually due 25% due to the raises that we have missed over the last 10 years. We ask you to find the balance and make cuts in the appointed administration staff. I'm sure several jobs currently performed by several appointees can be consolidated and given to fewer appointees, eliminating hundreds of thousands of dollars which can be used to fund bonuses and raises. Thank you, Council, for allowing me the opportunity to speak here today. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Wesley Young, and following Wesley Young, I cannot understand your handwriting, but you're on Moffett Court.
I would just like to say good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure to be here before this council again. I am quite disturbed
Mr. Young, if you could give your address.
My name is Wesley Young.
Yes, sir.
I reside at 3058 James Street, Mobile, Alabama. I am the president of the Mobile Public Service Workers. I've been in front of this council all summer long requesting a meeting with the mayor as it relates to raises. I was denied raises, as you all know, so we appointed 8 employees to go into the mayor's office and request a meeting through emails, through letters, through every avenue that we could find to meet. So we decided that 8 employees was going to meet with the administration. Attorney Woods met with him. Director Peavy met with him. The mayor hadn't showed up yet. First meeting, they was telling me, oh, it went so well. I was under no illusion that anything was going to happen, and nothing has happened. The second meeting, we was going to find ways to find the money in order to give the employee raises. The third meeting, it was going to take 3 weeks from now, and we're going to crunch the numbers. In the first meeting, one of our representatives presented them with a written documentation that showed where the money could be found, where the city would have money left over. We haven't heard one word from any of that because it was a plan, a concerted plan to just string these employees along until the budget could be presented to you all so you all can make the decision. I am not enthusiastic about anything coming from this administration whatsoever. The budget is in your hands as council people. I have worked with many of you on this council in certain areas for several years. We so caught up in humanistics and, well, materialistics, we forgetting about humanistics. If you think these employees are not vital and essential, let Hurricane Gordon hit this city this afternoon or tonight, and you'll see what public service is all about. You know who the people going to have to get up out their beds and go out there on those streets and cut those trees down? Public Works, public service. Those employees deserve a raise. It is astounding to me to see an administration take these employees, string them around their hands, and just treat them like they're nobodies. And then at the end of the day, they'll tell them to go and talk to the council one-on-one if you want a raise. This city is falling apart. If you're not rich, they don't care nothing about you. It's all about the rich and the powerful. We're not rich, but let me explain something to everybody here today in the people's house. One of these days, you're going to meet with somebody that I know called Jesus. You won't be able to tell Jesus you're not going to meet with him. On that day, every tongue going to confess it, every knee going to bow. It doesn't matter to me what I've done won't have any effect on you, and what you've done won't have no effect on me. Your book of life is going to be opened up. You're going to have to talk to Jesus.
Let the church say amen.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Woods?
So just want to relate to you that we're not finished talking to people of Public Works, Public Services. And so I understand that some people want to advocate here in front of the council, and that's fine and dandy, but understand that if you have any questions for me regarding these matters, I'm more than happy to answer them for you.
Thank you. Well, I guess I do. Are we any closer? You all are still having discussions.
Well, we're open to continuing to have those discussions, and I'll say this: Mr. Young wasn't present at any of the meetings, so he can't give you a first-hand account of what happened and what didn't happen. But I'd be more than happy to, like I say, answer your questions. Not going back and forth at all, but not everything that got said is wholly accurate. But be more than happy to explain the process to you.
Any other questions and comments? Madam City Clerk?
The last person that signed in, I can't understand their handwriting. They live at 3915 Moffett Court.
3915 Moffett Court.
Okay, so they left.
They left.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Do you want to take a break? Want to take a break? Or
Ma'am?
You want to take a break, or you want to keep
Do we
going?
want to take a break? Well, Mr. Williams, let's take a 5 minutes.
We have to pop up one.
I think it'd be good to take 5 minutes. We'll come back. 5 minutes.
This was just for the budget.
Oh, yeah.
This was just for the budget.
Sorry, I thought we were just taking on.
No, we're getting to that section now, and you'll be the first name that I'm going to call. Oh, did they say 5 minutes? Okay.
Will you be televising the end of the meeting? I usually watch it. I don't go down with the
John, a little over an hour ago, we went to Camp 1. Gordon was at Camp 1. About a little over an hour ago. Category, no, a little over an hour ago, they upgraded it to a Category 1 hurricane. The last NWS showed the track still Gulfport, but the radar started to show it shift going to more toward Biloxi or that area. But we're still waiting on an update. I think that comes out at 1 o'clock, so it should be coming out. Yeah, that was a little over an hour ago. They sent out, it's a Category 1. Which means it's got more time.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Joseph Jones.
Good afternoon, Council Chairperson.
Good afternoon.
Members of the Council, Mayor, other members of the community. I'm Joseph Seymour Jones, and I reside at 1464 St. Stephen's Road. And on the historical plant records for the City of Mobile, my address is also known as 1500 St. Stephen's Road, which means that the City of Mobile shares an address with me on properties at 1464 St. Stephen's Road, which is the only surviving house from that whole block, which means that all of the other ones were condemned. And that's how the city became property owners. And the 1500 address that 1464 commonly shares has a deed for it that was brought through a series of persons from the historical side, so that my mother, Sally Castarfin Jones, who is deceased, died on February 3rd. And I received notice from the tax office of her death that I had 14 days to comply to give notice to receive her tax notices because she was tax exempt. Now, as far as bringing an estate for her to the record for the city to address where you would like to place walkways, you would like to place a city marker sign, and there's been the employment of Whittier Tax Service property surveyors. They've already surveyed the residential property. They are commercial surveyors. So we were not aware at that address by notice or any other form that we would have a historical home debated a modern sign. So I've mailed to each of you correspondence related to where I would like to see a resolution. But I was here on July 24th, and it was my understanding that it was an agenda item, and it was not. And I was called to the side by my representative, Mr. Manzi, in which case I presumed that to address the full forum was a denial. And with that being, I mailed each member of the council the relationship of myself to the matter with the exhibits that should be proper to bring forward concerning. So I mailed your attorney, the mayor, and others to implement my desire first to reside continuous at that address until I can make some decisions from that home. I included in it documents to show that my mother was cited for the address, which actually Mr. Terrence Washington did not realize, nor did he do his research before citing her as the resident in 2004. We came to court, municipal court, demonstrated compliance on the city properties as well as our own, because all we own is a little strip. But at the time, Mr. Washington did not realize he was citing us for the city of Mobile properties. So now that the action has been, to me, hostily and aggressively moved forward, erasing what was the Donald Street Express project that we understood. And that was the one that operated for the longest. It involved taking so much of a right away from the backside of all the lots. City abandoned lots in my position. Habitat for Humanity abandoned in my position because Ms. Jones was cited, brought to court. I was the resident, if that's the case. But we demonstrated compliance on city properties. So with that being said, she died, and the surveys having been aggressively moved forward, there is a compelling governmental interest in the home because I maintain the records there related to a veteran who never was allowed to make the Indianapolis survivors list. So if I am taxed with addressing the city of Mobile, trying to maintain a home that is part of my requirement to do so, then I need to make sure my contact with the water service of Mobile County, the Mobile Area Waterworks, because they have cited us again for 1,500, which is 1464. And we have a lateral issue which places the home under condemning. And there are 3 additional flags that represents the smoke test, and 2 of those flags belong to the city of Mobile and Habitat for Humanity. So if we are being required under condemned mode for the 1464 building, then I'm asking that you withdraw the project and give me a time to research, bring compliance, because all of those lots are raised into question in terms of the action by the city right now. So if my documents are not sufficient, then I take the act to mean that I will be having to look for a new address. Is there any way the city can withhold the proposed sign walkway at 1504, the old historical address where a house was once there? I'm the last house standing. It's 1464, and there's a dispute over who actually owns the land and who was required to make it compliant at our own expense. It's 41 years.
Well, Mr. Jones, I appreciate you coming down here. I'm going to be very honest with you. I got your packet of information. I read through it.
Threw it away?
I read through your packet of information.
Yes, sir.
I was just as confused by reading that information as I am by what you just said.
And I know you are. That's
fine. And so I'll just be honest in saying that the land that you're referencing is land that 3 or 4 city employees have documented that the city owns. And what we plan on doing is not going to be a detriment to your property.
Well, I don't know. I did have I had a theft on the 22nd of August, so go ahead. It won't be, but go ahead.
Mr. Jones,
I'll listen.
As a matter of fact, you really could have a seat.
Okay.
Because you're 5 minutes up. The property that you can have a seat, Mr. Jones. The property that I can wait. The property that you're referencing is city-owned property, and it's not going to be a detriment to what you have there. If anything, it's going to add much needed value to that corner. When I look at what's there at that corner, your house and other houses, you all need what we're trying to do there in order to improve your property values. We're going to bring a nice, Mr. Jones, you can have a seat. We're going to have a nice clock tower. There's going to be grills for families to come out and enjoy. There's going to be nice vegetation. We're going to totally transform that point and make it something that when citizens come up St. Stephen's Road, come down Congress Street, go down Catherine Street, can really be proud of. The Neighborhood Association, the Lafayette Heights Neighborhood Association, the campground, all of those neighborhoods are excited about what the city is doing relative to that point area. So it's not going to have anything to do with trying to take your property, your mother's property, put a lien on it, take a lien off of it. It's all about improving the aesthetics of that point as people come into the historic part of District 2. So I would advise that you either get with Miss Wanda Cochran. Raise your hand, Miss Cochran. She's our attorney. And let her wade through this maze of information that you have that I don't understand. I really don't think you quite understand, and I believe she could really help all of us understand. Please get with her. She's right here. Ms. Cochran, if you could get with him, please. Okay. Okay. Yes, thank you. Mr. Jones, we're going to have to move on, Mr. Jones. Yes, sir. You said it wasn't on the agenda last time. You called me to the side. Mr. Jones, we're going to have to move on, Mr. Jones. Thank you. You have a great day. Yes, sir. Working for you in District 2.
Jeffrey Jones. Right here. Okay, Gregory Dennis.
Mr. Dennis?
Good morning. My name is Gregory Dennis. My address is 5919 Warrenwood Drive. And I've been here over the past 3 months. I proved to the City Council and the Mayor that Gina Gregory and the University of South Alabama officials willfully and intentionally planned to destroy Hillsdale Heights subdivision in 2006.
Mr. Dennis, first off, you knocked the top off that microphone.
Hey, stop your clock.
Stop his clock. Stop his clock.
Start it over, rather.
So, what, Mr. Dennis? Okay, Mr. Dennis, I'm gonna handle stopping the clock now. I just want you to put that. Thank you.
I was gonna do that.
If you could put your display in the front so that we can see your face. We don't want to hear you. We want to see you while you're talking. And if you don't mind.
Okay. Can you see me?
Yes, sir. That's much better.
All right. We're gonna start over. You got it, timekeeper? You good, sir?
I'm good. Yes, sir.
Here we go. All right, my name is Gregory Dennis. My address, 5919 Warrenwood Drive. Over the past 3 months, I've proven to the City Council and the Mayor that Gina Gregory and the University of South Alabama officials willfully and intentionally planned to destroy Hillsdale Heights subdivision in 2006 for the purpose of benefiting USA and the City of Mobile. Y'all, it's freezing down here. By drawing a red line to divide the neighborhood, identifying the property that the University of South Alabama wants, overlooking and disregarding the effects this would have on the residents' property value. I've proven to the City Council and Mayor that Gina Gregory has intentionally discriminated against the residents in Hillsdale Heights, whose property is located behind the red line.
Mr. Dennis.
Stop the clock now.
Mr. Dennis, wait.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Dennis, again, I'm going to handle the clock.
Okay.
I got the clock.
Okay.
What you need to do, and we're giving you a lot of leniency, Ms. Gregory is not here.
That's okay, sir. She can look at the
both
film.
of us can't talk at the same time.
Okay.
Ms. Gregory is not here. We've asked you to make, if you got any come and tell you want to make it to the chair.
I'm making it to you.
Well, but we're not going over in left field with these allegations against this one or that one, and Ms. Gregory's not here to defend us.
Sir, my position, and I've got a right to tell you what my opinion is. And my opinion is, and the residents that live on my street, is that we're being discriminated against. And you can't change that.
I'm not saying that you don't say that, but you're talking a very general sense about how you've been discriminated against. But making scandalous and slanderous...
Let me finish, sir. I'll prove it to you.
Hold a minute, Mr. Dennis.
Keep your clock
Mr. Dennis. Hold the clock right where you have it. You got an issue with the clock, I see.
Yeah, because I don't want you wasting my time. This is your time.
This is all I'm saying. Ms. Gregory is not here. You are making allegations and slanderous remarks relative to her. That is against our rules.
Sir, I have told Mrs. Gina Gregory she's discriminated against me. She knows it.
Mr. Dennis.
Are you talking to me?
Mr. Dennis?
Go ahead.
Am I what?
Go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm not going to be quiet.
Now, Mr. Dennis, if you call another name, I'm going to ask that you be removed from out of this auditorium. We've had a long day. Everybody is really ready for probably to move on. And we've gotten to you. We've heard you for the last 3 months make these same allegations. I am not going to allow you to do that, and Gina's not here. So if you have some general remarks... Do
you want me to wait till she come back?
If you don't mind.
Huh?
You're welcome to wait till she comes back.
Okay,
She'll be back next week.
Okay, I address the discrimination when she come back, if that's what you want. But I've addressed that with her, sir, and she knows it. I just want you to know that it's not nothing that I'm doing behind her back.
Officer, we almost need your help. Because you saying it was Gina Gregory.
Hold on just a second, officer. Stand.
You saying that it's Miss Gregory. Miss Gregory is not here. So nobody in here discriminated against you. So if you'd like to come back next week when Miss Gregory is here so that she can defend herself, but we're not going to sit here and hear all of that today. So if you have something general in nature to say about Hillsdale Heights, we will listen. But if you're going to have a Bash Gina Gregory party, you have to do that in her face.
I've done that, sir. Don't you think I haven't?
Then what's the point of coming back today?
Because I wanted to communicate to you all, the city council, as to what kind of treatment the residents of Hillsdale Heights are receiving.
Mr. Dennis, this is
but I can't. Hey, sir, I support Mr. Richards. I want to move on, sir.
Mr. Dennis,
let me move on.
This is what I'm saying.
Let me move on.
Either you're going to make general remarks relative to Hillsdale, or you need to be seated.
Okay, all right. Can I move on, sir?
Let's start this time, please.
I won't call anybody name.
That's all I'm asking.
Okay, yes, sir, no problem. Go ahead, ma'am. What do you want to know?
Come on, it's your time.
I won't call any council person by name. Okay, no problem. Here we go. Moving along. All right. I prove to the city council and mayor that our council person has intentionally discriminated against the residents in Hillsdale Heights, whose property is located behind the red line, failing to maintain the infrastructure in that area in an attempt to push the resident out. I've proven to the city council and mayor that the University of South Alabama officials has intentionally failed to maintain U.S.-owned property in the neighborhood, barricading streets with the city approval, knowing their action will reduce the value of the residents' property, giving them the opportunity to purchase the property at a reduced value. I've proven to the city council that our city council person supported for University of South Alabama was so strong she was untruthful to them and the citizens of Mobile concerning USA maintenance of its property in the neighborhood and their red line plan to exterminate Hillsdale Heights subdivision. I asked the city council for help because of our councilperson's character flaws. What action should a citizen take if they are being discriminated against and bullied? Based on these undisputed facts, it's clear the residents of Hillsdale Heights subdivision is being discriminated against by a councilperson and bullied by the University of South Alabama officials. The University of South Alabama officials stated they don't have any current need or plans for the property in Hillsdale Heights and don't foresee any in the near future. I suggest USA sell the property to the developer so houses can be built, which was the original use for the property, which would increase the value of the current resident's property. The only other viable and moral option is to pay the residents' replacement cost value for their property, as the status quo is unacceptable because the residents' property value will continue to decline. That ain't right. The facts show that our councilperson is supporting the University of South Alabama action by discriminating against me and other residents, failing to pave our streets because they are behind the University red line. An example is how unethical our councilperson is the actions have been taken, is that she paid for landscaping at University of South Alabama instead of paving our streets. Another example is she spent our tax money on decorative trash cans rather than pave our streets. The undisputable fact is that our councilperson would rather give the University of South Alabama $10 million to build a football stadium than to pave my street. At the August 21st, 2018 council meeting, our councilperson talked about the city and USA partnership. It's this partnership that has destroyed my neighborhood. Our councilperson has confirmed she's not going to pave any of the streets in the neighborhood with the capital money she receives, continuing to support their red line plan. Today, I would like for each council member to give your opinion. Sir?
That's your time.
That wasn't my time, but go ahead, sir. This is your show.
It's the people's show. No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vice President.
Diego Calderon, Arietta.
Mr. Vice President.
Mr. Daves.
You know, I've sat here week after week and listened to Mr. Dennis, and that's fine. He can come down here and say what he wants to say, but what he can't say and shouldn't say, what he shouldn't do is impugn the honor and integrity of Miss Gina Gregory, who is a dedicated public servant, has proved it time and time again. And I will not sit here, Mr. Dennis, and listen to you. You sit down. I will not sit here and listen to you impugn her integrity. Good.
Well, you flipped all of us the bird. Lord have mercy. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Diego Calderon Arietta. My address is 8530 Sterling Drive, Mobile, Alabama, 36695. I want to say, first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you all today. And I'm really fortunate that I've had the opportunity to listen to other speakers and people come to the podium talking about keeping Mobile Bay safe and for the benefit of all communities who benefit from the Mobile Bay. And I want to continue that theme by inviting each of you all to our Rise for Climate Mobile Bay event, which is happening this Saturday on September 8th from 2 to 5 p.m. in downtown Bienville Square. One of my colleagues earlier sent to you an electronic flyer of this event that we would humbly request that you circulate within your newsletters as well. Ultimately, a big concern, a big motivation behind this event is out of the concern for the health of current generations of Mobile residents, as well as the future generations of Mobile residents, because climate change is causing irreversible changes to our environment that we need to make sure we need to reverse in order to preserve the natural resources that we are fortunate to have access to, the healthy communities that every day we are fighting for as well, and for the future generations that will be fortunate enough to live in the Mobile Bay community. We have three important components of our event. We are inviting multiple keynote speakers to not only highlight the issues of climate change, but also the solutions and opportunities we can engage in as a community to help keep our community safe from the effects of climate change. We are also inviting multiple exhibitors from the environmental sector and the non-environmental sector in order for them to have an opportunity to share with the communities how they are going to be supportive of common sense climate solutions as well. And finally, one of the most important aspects is our commitment to nonpartisanship. I want to repeat that one more time. We are making sure this event is nonpartisan. We do not care what political stripe you embody or what type of organization you give donations to. We are inviting written comments to 4 particular questions on clean energy investment and protecting our Mobile Bay community from climate change. And we are addressing these comments to all local political candidates. Again, all local political candidates, and we will be distributing these written comments at our event upon request to inform our attendees as to what stances and ideas and solutions our political candidates have to share for the Mobile Bay community on Saturday. We are also organizing, I'm sorry, let me back up. We have live updates about our event on riseforclimate.mobilebay.org. And this will be an opportunity for the council to illustrate and demonstrate support for common sense climate solutions, and showing that the council and all administrative folks in the Mobile Bay community, how they care about the current generation of Mobile Bay residents as well as future generations of Mobile Bay residents. And I want to wrap up with one final event that we are organizing on Thursday, this Thursday at 5:30 p.m. at the Ben May branch of the Mobile Public Library, where we'll be screening a NOVA film highlighting the relationship between weather systems and our climate systems in order to inform our communities about this relationship as well. And we would, again, I want to highlight that this is an invitation to the City Council, the administration of Mobile, the mayor, and everyone in attendance today to come and learn about common sense climate solutions for the Mobile Bay community. And I want to relinquish any time left to address any questions this body might have. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Richardson?
I would like to say, I think it would be important because, especially since we got a storm out there, for you to, you have a great opportunity to share with us some of the things you would like for the residents to do to help accomplish your goal. You're putting some event on, but for the folk who will not be to that event, they would be lost. So if you've got something you want the people to do, tell them. I mean, just come on out with it and say what it is.
I think, sir, Councilman, I think two important solutions that I think the Mobile Bay residents would benefit greatly from is more investment into clean energy and renewable resources as well. How? Unfortunately, I am not well versed in that right now, but I'm looking forward to becoming more informed about that issue on Saturday.
Okay. All right.
Are there any other questions?
Any other questions? Well, yeah. I want to thank you for being a part of such a well-intentioned initiative. I think the more we know about how we can slow the effects of climate change, the better we can protect our beautiful Mobile Bay. So I certainly agree with you in that effort. Unfortunately, I'll be out of town this weekend, so I won't, well, Saturday specifically, so I won't be able to be there, but I hope it's a great success, and hopefully you'll have other iterations where we'll be able to participate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time, and thank you for waiting so long to share that with us.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Madam
Secretary. How many more do we have, Madam Clerk? Okay, let's rock and roll.
Resolutions held over 09619-620, reallocating monies from capital project miscellaneous street improvements, Alabama Municipal Trust Fund to McGregor Avenue widening and tree removal phase 1. 21621 and 622 are authorizing contracts to Southern Earth Sciences and Mobile Asphalt Company for Water Street resurfacing and striping. 37623, approve the application of Matthew Kelly doing business as Gulf Coast Pedal Tours for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate a quadricycle tour service. And 41624, call for public hearing to rezone property at 5803, 5807, 5811, and 5812 Waltman Lane from R1 to R3.
So move.
Second.
Probably motion and second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Items passed.
Consent resolutions have been introduced for the first time, 31627 through 46629.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of resolution 31627 through 46629.
So we're going to go with 627? I thought we were holding
We're
that.
going to lay it over when we get to it. Just call it by itself.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
31627, authorize the mayor to accept any grant funds and to enter into a memorandum of agreement for participation of the Southwest Alabama Regional Highway Safety Office.
Motion to have for 1 week.
Second.
Probably motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
31628 and 46629, authorize the mayor to apply, accept, and receive funding from the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, no local match, and 46629, honorarily named Plum Street, Lovett Way.
So moved.
Second.
Probably motion and second. Any discussion? I have some discussion. We have with us Ms. Deanna Johnson. She is a part of the Lovett family, and I'd like to read this into the record concerning this very prominent family, not only in District 2, but in this city and in this region. The Lovett family has been a part of the community since approximately 1895, when Reverend Britton Mose Lovett, born on August 30th, 1874, and the son of a former slave, moved with his wife, Jettie Hayes Lovett, and their son, William J. Lovett, Sr., from Wilcox County, Alabama, to Mobile. Eventually settling at the base of Plum Street, it was in what was and continues to be known as the Bottom. Reverend Lovett served as pastor of both Mount Pleasant and True Vine Missionary Baptist churches, two continuously prominent active churches in the district and in our city, the latter of which he served as under shepherd for over 40 years. Here in Mobile, Reverend and Mrs. Lovett went on to have 5 other children, bringing the total number of offspring to 6, 5 boys and 1 girl, and the Lovett family has continued to be immersive in the Mobile community, being known for entrepreneurship and service both within the city and beyond, providing the whole of Plum Street, which is approximately 6 blocks long, with the honorary street designation of Lovett Way, will honor Reverend B.M. and Mrs. Jettie Lovett and all of the Lovetts that have come and have produced and have been a part of the vibrancy of our city since 1895. It'll serve as a reminder to the immediate area in the city that the remnant of true service, born of love and sealed by faith, never dies, but transcends, and that above all, God will always make a way.
Amen.
Ms. Johnson, if you don't mind, I want you to stand on behalf of your family. There's not many of us. So we've had discussion. Thank you for being here and for staying and participating. It's been an interesting day, but this is important, and we look forward to having a ceremony to commemorate this. We've had any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes unanimously. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 01630 through 01631.
Said resolution will level for 1 week by council rules.
Call for public hearings, 41632. Call for public hearing to approve the application of Wandery House, doing business as And You Need a Ride, We-Ride, for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate a taxi cab service scheduled September 18th.
So move.
Properly motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Public hearings called.
Announcements.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Small, Ms. Rich?
None.
Mr. Davis?
None.
Mrs. Rich?
Just for everyone to be safe.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Properly motion is second. Any
Second.
discussion?
No.
Meeting adjourned. Oh.